Good job. Great. Congratulations to the Hazelwood Central Hawks. Chris Kerber is going to join us later in the show. We're also going to talk to Bradley Carnell and the St. Louis City SC side, moving one step closer to clinching the Western Conference title in MLS in their inaugural season. A 2-1 over Minnesota United FC on Saturday night in Minnesota. Congratulations to SC.
Yes.
They're rocking and rolling.
City SC, that was, to me, a really good game. I know that Minnesota is... Oh, yes, excuse me. A very good match. How about that? That was really, I think, important to see, to be able to come away with 3 points. We have been talking about the draws that they have gotten recently, which is fine. It's kept them at the top of the Western Conference. But still, coming away with this victory, I think, says a lot. The fact they were able to claw their way back in this one, João Klaus, I mean, he looked fantastic. That thunderous header that he had, and then Blom, what he was able to do offensively and defensively, I think was also a huge difference maker. And then you had your usual guys like Roman Berkey, looked fantastic, but to me, a great overall game for City SC. What you really wanted to see here towards the end.
Bradley Carnell is the head coach of SC. What were his thoughts on the victory?
We believed from day one in this roster. We believed in the system from day one, and we were happy with the results and performances. We think about the Toronto stretch, or we think about the San Jose away game, you know, when we used rotated lineups, and we're equally rewarded. So, but the way we gave, you know, what was missing in the first half for me were a little bit of our principles on the front foot, forward defending, counter pressing, winning the ball up high. And again, I just thought, you know, games here at this stadium tend to get a little bit wild in the second half towards the end of the games. Bringing on, you know, Klaus, AZ, Edu Leuven, just changed the complexion of our game just a little bit. Anthony Marcano came in and did an excellent forward defending job on Bongi Kungwani. He was a danger all day. And then when we brought Anthony on, he was done. So it was really, really good for my boys. Just proud to be in the company of an LAFC with 16 wins in the regular season. We've got 3 more games, you know, and yeah, we want to continue to create history and make this club proud.
You get 3 more matches, Coach.
You should have just jumped into the Zoom and corrected him.
If he says games, are we allowed to say games?
I think we have to.
I think we are.
I think we do.
I think we're good.
Klaus with a goal and Blom with his first professional goal. Congratulations to City on that victory.
And when he was talking about rotating starters, they rotated 8 starters in that match. You see what I did there?
Well
excuse us, Coach. It's match. But if he says game, I think I should be allowed to say game too.
You are totally allowed.
And what he was saying there, too, with Leuven and Jackson, the way that they were able to retrieve the ball, if you look specifically at that Blom goal, the way that they were able to retrieve it and set him up for that, it just shows you how even rotating those starters in and out of the match, that they were able to really make things work here. And I was wondering if you would just go with the same starting 11 and build maybe some consistency here down the stretch, but the fact that they were able to do that, I think also says a lot about this group and Carnell with what he has going on.
And taking a cursory look at the table, City SC with 53 points at the moment. LAFC with the game in hand has 43, so they're 8 behind. Seattle also is 8 behind, and Seattle has a game in hand, and that's going to be the big one for City. Can they knock off Seattle? And if they do, then they clinch the Western Conference. So let's go SC.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Nice.
It was a great weekend for Missouri as well. They held off Memphis 34-27 Saturday night at the Dome and announced 45,000, and 44,000 of those, according to Missouri, were Mizzou fans. So that's a good thing. Good night for Brady Cook, who came in questionable. He was 18 of 25 for 341 and a couple of scores. And Luther Burden with another great performance, 10 catches, 177 yards, and he has now way eclipsed his freshman total in his sophomore year in only 3 games.
He looked really good. That offense looked really good. They ran the ball well when they needed to. They ran the ball right at Memphis. And we were texting during the game about that breaking point, and you could see Memphis really ready to break because of the way that they were running the ball. Brady Cook looked really good. They had some plays there. I thought that defensively they may have given up a few big pass plays that I didn't think. I think those are things that they need to correct. But all in all, offensively, they looked really good, finding guys wide open, creative, very creative in what they were doing in their game plan and how they schemed up their offense against Memphis.
And Mizzou gives them the ball at the 10-yard line, at their own 10-yard line after the fumble by Schrader early on. And then another touchdown scored by Memphis on the heels of Mizzou trying to go for it, throwing the ball on 4th and a half a yard.
Yeah,
and that's one of those games, especially with where the game was at that point. Mizzou, you know, we can say bad play calling, but it just didn't work. But that was a point where you let your big guys beat their big guys because you were in that position. And then the other one was a garbage time touchdown for Memphis. It was really, overall, a pretty good defensive performance for Mizzou.
It really was. And CD, with what you were saying, too, about offensively, I thought that they looked a lot more sound. I think that there was some concern after those first 2 games, and I was one of the ones to point it out, where I wanted to see some more aggressive play calling. And from Kirby Moore and Eli Drinkwitz, because I know he's obviously still involved with this, you were able to see that. And especially, I thought that one moment with Cook, did you guys see that with, they call him Speedy Johnson, too, that 76-yard touchdown pass? I mean, when you have, like, explosive plays like that, that was the game plan that you needed to execute going in, and they were able to do that. There was concerns about if Brady Cook would be able to do things like that this season, and I think that so far they've answered some of those questions. Now, you're perfect going into Vandy, which I think we all know. I can say it. I'm from that area. It's not going to be a tough matchup.
It should not be. Mizzou, by the way, was actually down 10-7 early in the second quarter when Nathaniel Pete was able to score a touchdown. And before the half was over, it was the quarterback, Brady Cook, to Luther Burden to set things up.
Cook to Burden. Perfect. What a connection. What a weapon for Missouri and Luther Burden inside the 15.
And Mizzou was able to score there, make it 14-10. They win it 34-27. And in the latest rankings, Mizzou is right there. They make the top 25 this week. Congratulations to the Tigers there. As Colorado actually drops out, Mizzou is number 23 in the country.
Good for them.
Wow.
MIZ.
We talked about it. Rocc talked about it as he's pointing at me right now about how he felt like that if they won convincingly in this game that they would be in the top 25, and they are. Good for them.
One spot ahead of KU. So Mizzou ahead of Mizzou on top of KU.
That was a disturbing song that was played, and they had some vulgar chant for KU. KU wasn't even there.
I know.
That's kind of weird to me.
I agree.
Like, the song, I guess that's a normal thing. They sing, they chant that when they play that song. KU wasn't even there. You all hate KU.
Mr. Brightside is an American classic. Don't just watch it today. It's an
I didn't say
American classic.
anything about the song. I'm not talking about the song. I'm talking about the people that were chanting what they were chanting.
Yeah.
There was a Cronky chant at one point, too,
That's
right?
fine.
That one's fine. We all are in agreement there.
Yeah.
But the KU slander? Well, KU wasn't even playing.
And we're playing football, and if KU's playing football, that really shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, what are we doing?
I mean, do Yankee
that sounds
fans...
like some trauma.
Yeah, all due
Sounds
respect.
like some trauma.
Do Yankee fans chant blank the Royals?
Never.
You know?
And people are like,
Never.
what's going on here?
Now, the Royals might chant blank the Yankees,
Yeah,
but
right. A little different.
I think they call that living rent-free in someone's
Probably
head.
say
Maybe
so.
just a little
That's
bit.
intriguing.
Yep.
Yes.
And congratulations to the Fighting Illini. They beat Florida Atlantic 23-17, ILL.
I.
And Oregon stomps Colorado 42-6. Here's the thing. If you're going to make everything personal, don't have your players stomp on the opposing team's logo as they walk into the stadium.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. You can do a lot of things. For me, everything starts with respect, and if you are disrespectful, then whatever happens to you after that is on you.
Right.
I don't really care after that.
If you're the greatest show on turf, and the greatest show on turf was fun because they would get all 45 guys jumping up and down on but they knew they were going to beat the hell out of the other team. So that didn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, when you're really good and you know you have that in your, if with you, you can do that. Warren Sapp used to kick over the pylon, which I thought was ridiculous, but he did it just because. Like, whatever. I'm the best D tackle in the league. What are you going to do?
Yeah, who's going to stop him? Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is who in the world is going to stop him or say anything?
Right. And the Cardinals weekend was, let's see, Padres beat them 4-2. Cardinals beat them 5-2. And then Cardinals lost yesterday by a score of 12-2. But
my God.
Home run Baker.
Oh.
In the air left center again. This one well hit. That ball is gone. A mammoth homer for Luken Baker. His second as a big leaguer. That spoils the shutout, and the Cardinals have runs 1 and 2.
Well, and the Cardinals threatened late. They were five bloops and a blast away from tying the game in the ninth inning.
That seems like a lot.
Not quite.
And they lost 12-2. But today's a day off. So
Okay.
Good thing.
Good for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
do we have
got
Milwaukee?
7 games left? 6 games left?
6 games left.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 in Milwaukee and then 3 against Cincinnati here to close things out.
That's, thank you.
Yeah, it is.
At this point, is it just like asking for mercy? Is that what we're basically saying at this point?
Yeah, and this isn't their team. I mean, you look at yesterday's lineup. I mean, you can't judge anybody or anything based upon the last month. But yesterday, you've got Mike Ciani playing after Newt left the game. You've got Jose Fermin playing. You've got Juan Yepes playing. You've got Richie Palacios. All due respect, I mean, he's basically Willie Mays, but still, you didn't expect him to be in the lineup. And then Luke and Baker, Ivan Herrera, Irving Lopez. Nice to meet you.
First time hearing of you.
Who's that? Are we doing like that? Remember we played that game? Remember we played that Name the Ray? Yes, that one. Is this what we're turning into with the Cardinals right now?
Did anyone here know who the ghost runner on second base was on Saturday night? Quinn Zacuto. I heard that name and I was like,
no, it's Queracudo.
I heard that name and I was like, that's one for the game.
He almost made the club out of spring training.
Yeah. Thought he had been here till the end of
That
the
says a
year.
lot.
Yeah.
He's here at one point during the year.
And with the way that where the Cardinals are at right now, it's like you were saying, it is what it is at this point. So they are 68 and 88 right now. They would have to go 5-1 over their final 6 games, right, to avoid their first 90-loss season since 1990. And Randy, what happened at 1990 season?
Fired the manager. Fired the manager. Yeah, got a new manager.
Did they?
Turned things over pretty dramatically. Yeah, they let a bunch of veterans go and brought in young players. By the way, Zach Gallen is 17 and 8 now. He used to be in the
pretty
Cardinals.
good, huh?
Yeah,
He is.
He and Alcantara both went in the Ozuna trade.
He was close. He's close to being Cy Young, right?
I think he has a really good chance. Yeah, he'll be top 3.
So you'll be frustrated if you have 2 players to formerly be Cardinals that win Cy Young awards.
Yeah, I would say that would be frustrating.
And the one thing that you liked all season is pitching.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
And you still lack going into this offseason because guess what? If there's anything I'm learning more and more here is that there's also not much available that you could even possibly call up or look towards at certain depth positions.
Yes. And one thing we know, we know the Cardinals can develop young players, right? Well, they can identify young players. The problem is, can they identify them for themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you hit the nail on the head, the development part. I think you can figure out who can play. You just watch the guy that stands out in comparison to everyone else. Now, when they get on your roster and they get in your clubhouse and they get on your team, can you continue to grow and have them grow in their game and not just be really talented versus everyone else, but you have to be able to show them, help them, guide them in the way that allows them to have success at the major league level.
And look, and to the Cardinals' credit, I guess, could you partly put this Jordan Hicks, his success that we've seen with the Blue Jays here recently, especially if you look at his September numbers, I don't think he's given up a run in September yet. You could maybe credit, the Cardinals for that, for developing, because he was turning around the season before he was traded. But then you look at Jack Flaherty, how those things have fallen apart. But then when you see the players that you mentioned that have, that were potentially a part of this organization that were moved on from, I think those are the ones that bite you the most, especially when you're in this position now where you really, really, really need pitching. You have to go out and get some, but then you also don't have maybe possibly the best ones available right now in the organization just to help depth-wise.
And the fact that guys can just go to Toronto and Toronto snaps their finger and automatically the guys are better does get a little bit frustrating. That is the start of the program here on 101 ESPN. Don't forget we're on the YouTube. If you just go to youtube.com, type in 101 ESPN STL, you can watch us on the YouTube. Of course, you can always hear us on the 101 ESPN app or on your radio. Coming up, what we loved about the weekend here on 101 ESPN. Brooke, Carrie, Randy, and what we loved about the weekend here on 101 ESPN. Brooke, would you like to take it away?
Number 2.
My favorite thing this weekend, or my second favorite thing, I guess I should say, is the Blues and Brews event on Friday. Randy, I know that you went out there too, and it was a lot of fun. CD, obviously, you were busy with football or something. I don't know. I mean, but you were there with us in spirit. It was a lot of fun just going out there. I'm so excited for hockey season, and I've been saying that just because the way that the Cardinals have been going this season, I need something else to look forward to. Thankfully, we have City SC and the way that they're playing right now, but I love hockey season around this time of year, just getting prepped for it. So seeing some of the players come out, like Robert Thomas, Colton Parayko, I'm trying to remember who some of the other ones that were out there, but it was just a great event over at the brewery, and I love that moment because you remember Bobby Plager, he had this tradition that he started a few years ago where he would give the newest member of the Blues organization their jersey, and so Bernie Federko carried on that tradition too on Friday where he gave Kevin Hayes his jersey in front of the whole crowd. It was a great moment, so just a lot of fun and getting amped up for the hockey season.
It was a lot of fun. Great shrimp.
Okay, CD, they had food for us, and there's meatballs, there was chicken skewers. Randy just got a full plate of shrimp.
Man knows what he wants.
That was it. Nothing else. No cookie, nothing. Just a full plate of shrimp is what he got. Yes.
That's it.
I've never been so proud to work with you. God, you're a champion.
Randy is.
I didn't know if there was going to be any shrimp left.
Yeah, he ate all of it.
I mean, it was a big old plate of shrimp. It wasn't just a few pieces.
Had I been there, I would have been right with you. I would have been right there with a full plate of shrimp, too.
I admire you.
My number 2 thing was watching the Miami Dolphins play offensive football. 726 yards of offense, 376 yards passing, 350 yards rushing. They were scoring touchdowns left and right, and it was amazing. 10 total touchdowns from this team. What more can you ask for? What more do you want from an offense than what you saw? And this is a Broncos defense last year that was number 1 in points allowed and number 1 in overall defense. They were really good. Somehow, they have taken a step back, which offensively, I didn't think that was possible. Defensively, it has happened, and it's just, I think you tip your cap to what Mike McDaniel and that Miami offense. He's kind of quirky. He's a little strange. He's a little different. But he is an offensive genius and figures out a way to get the ball in his playmakers' hands. And he got fast guys that can run, and they make big plays. It's awesome.
That was impressive.
It's so exciting to see. And to me, I know that some people are like, it's likely that Tua is the MVP frontrunner. To me, he is the MVP. What he's doing right now, fantastic for my fantasy team, by the way. Luckily, he's my quarterback. We bounced back from the Aaron Rodgers issue there. But that was a really just exciting team to watch. And the Broncos are just bad, guys.
They are.
It's just really bad.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Is it?
Yeah, well. Guys, as you know, there's this website called Charity Navigator, and every single year, St. Louis is one of the top 3 most philanthropic communities in America. And this weekend, we had Pedal the Cause, which aims to eradicate cancer, especially pediatric cancer. Thousands of people ride through Chesterfield, and there are multiple rides. You've got an 11-mile ride, a 28-mile ride, a 50 and a 100. And I didn't ride this weekend, but I had the chance to volunteer with the Edward Jones team. And it's just so cool to see so many people in our community that are getting out to do great things to help other people. And it was fun to be a part of it, and fun to see so many people riding and volunteering. And when we eradicate cancer, St. Louis is going to be a big part of it because of events like this. It was really cool to be involved with Pedal the Cause.
That's awesome.
It was great.
Very nice. I saw a picture of you and Dana. Yeah, one of my former players that I coached. You and her are great friends.
She's great.
She is. She's awesome.
No, that's really cool. My
number 1.
My number 1 thing is going to be City SC. I know that we were touching on it earlier in the first segment, but the way that they're playing right now is just so exciting. The Cardinals this season have been terrible to watch. City SC in their inaugural season have been fantastic to watch. And what they're doing is making history in MLS. And the way that they're playing, the pieces they have together, I love everything about City SC and what they're doing and the product product they're putting out there on the field. Or on the pitch, excuse me, day in and day out. Here we go. We're on the match. How about that?
Yes.
Well done.
And excuse me, I got choked up on coffee a little bit while you were talking about Miami. I was trying to cover up and not distract you.
So defense and offense that he's putting out there is choking people up.
I know it's pretty bad, but I thought that this was really cool to see. So after this weekend, City SC tied LAFC for the most wins by an expansion team in their inaugural season in MLS history. That's excluding the shootout era, but it just shows you how just amazing everything that they've done this season. And I want to continue to just give them their flowers because they deserve it. They've put in so much work these past few years getting this team, this club ready, getting the stadium ready, getting the fans ready, and it's all paying off in this inaugural season. And there's so much to look forward to with them moving forward.
Very nice. My number one is surprising. It is the Houston Texans. The win that they had over the weekend versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. C.J. Stroud is a much better football player than I think. Coming out, everyone was talking about Anthony Richardson. You were talking about Bryce Young. Yeah. Will Levis. And C.J. Stroud just kind of got looked over. Despite the fact that he played extremely well in college, was a hell of a competitor at Ohio State. He is number 4 in the league in passing yardage right now. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for a rookie quarterback in his third game to be top 5 in passing yards and not turn over the ball yet, I think is extremely impressive. DeMeco Ryans and what he's doing as a head coach, they are playing tough. They're playing hard. They are showing up. C.J. Stroud is doing a fantastic job. And here's the thing. That AFC South Division is up for grabs.
Who they beat? Look at them. They killed
the team in Jacksonville. The team that everyone said was going to be the team that is supposed to win the division running away. That was absolutely amazing to me. The Indianapolis Colts are 2-1, but that was a surprise, beating the Ravens over the weekend. Houston has a chance to be really good in this division and maybe surprise a lot of people. And I thought that was spectacular, just his performance.
Yeah. My number one is I loved the vibe around the Dome on Saturday. The tailgates were great. The scene in Bear Park before the game and all the Mizzou fans was terrific. And then being inside the Dome was a lot of fun, and Mizzou made it fun. And we can do even better in St. Louis. And if they get, with all due respect to Memphis, it's just not a real sexy opponent. It's not somebody that people are saying, oh, I want to see Mizzou play Memphis. But if you could get Arkansas here every year and every other year and have that rivalry game at the Dome on Black Friday, I think that we can even take it to a higher level. I love seeing big-time football, and this is the SEC. I love seeing big-time football in our community. We are a football town, 45,000 on hand, 44,000 Mizzou fans, and kudos to the Sports Commission for setting it all up, getting the game in place, and all of the ancillary surrounding events like the tailgating and the pregame parties. They did a fantastic job of presenting the game. And oh, by the way, and I know you guys are like-minded to me, I get so tired of people that say, I hate the place where a football game is played. Kerry, you coach high school football. You're concerned about what goes on between the white lines, aren't you? I don't care about big screens. I don't care about having internet access. I'm there to watch a football game.
You should be dialed into what. I mean, I guess Jerry Jones kind of ruined the football experience for people because people literally go to the Cowboy games and the game is taking place down here and they're like this the entire game.
Right. Yeah.
They're watching it on the screen as opposed to just looking down at the actual game taking place.
But I think, and I'm not going to say that it's been dumbed down. I'm going to say the focus of sports, because of the NFL, the focus of their sport has turned from what's happening on the field to everything that's happening off the field. Yeah. People are concerned about the foam in their chairs. They're concerned about the size of the scoreboard. They're concerned about having to wait in line for drinks. You know what? Go in and watch a football game. Yeah. Realize that and by the way, crowds, we got to be better. You got to make a lot more noise when the defense is on the field. It was kind of a dead atmosphere at times. So we need to be better at that in St. Louis too. But and this is a sports show. Maybe it's a little bit different. But I think the NFL has kind of they've taken the focus away from the actual game on the field, and people are thinking way too much about where they are rather than what they're watching.
I did realize, Brooke, you brought this up last week about all of the fights that take place in games. I realized as I was sitting at that game why people do get punched in the face. There's a few comments from people. You had maybe 1, 2, 3, 5 too many. Sit down. One of your friends should tell you to close your mouth. And they weren't talking to me. They were just talking in general. And it's just, I see why people get into it.
Yeah.
Alcohol, your favorite team winning or losing, tends to get a bit disruptive.
Well, and somebody said on the text line last week, and I thought this was the best way to sum it up about why we're seeing so many more fights, is that people are used to just talking all this crap on the internet, on their keyboard. So then they think they could take that to the outside world. It doesn't really pan out that well. I thought it was a fantastic game. I enjoyed it as well. I know I saw some of those comments where people were talking about the Dome, but here's the thing. You want these big events to come here to St. Louis, and the fans did show up. I thought it was a really good turnout. Even some of the Memphis, fans, I thought that I wasn't expecting that many Memphis fans, honestly. And I know that they have a good football program, but I didn't know how they would travel well or if they would or not. I think the biggest thing is that you want to continue to support big events like this because you want to continue to attract it.
Absolutely. That's Carrie. That's Brooke. I'm Randy, and that's what we loved about the weekend. Coming up, 4 Downs from NFL Week 3 here on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals take just 1 of 3 from the Padres over the weekend, including a 12-2 loss yesterday. They are back in action, starting a 3-game series tomorrow against the Brewers. It'll be the Brewers and then the Cincinnati Reds to close out this 2023 regular season for the St. Louis Cardinals. Also over the weekend, St. Louis City with a comeback 2-1 victory over Minnesota United. Coming up later on the show at 8:45, head coach for St. Louis City, Bradley Carnell, joins Carrie, Brooke, and Randy. Also over the weekend, Missouri, over Memphis 34-27 here in St. Louis. And Illinois tops FAU 23-17. Luke Altmaier with 25 of 36, 303 yards and 1 touchdown. There is your SportsCenter update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your Road and Shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brooke, Carey, and Randy, and it's 4 downs from week 3 in the National Football League. First down. All right, Brooke, what do you got for first down?
Well, I've already gotten some texts in this morning, so I'm sure you guys know where I'm going to go with this. The Tennessee Titans. I need you guys to talk me off a ledge here because I don't feel great when you get blown out by the Browns in that fashion, and it was just an embarrassing game overall. There wasn't many highlights for me. So my question to you guys is, can they just blow up the offense and start over again? Is that something that you can do in the NFL? Is that something that we can do here? Because I just don't even know what you can say that is even working offensively for the Titans. And look, I know I've been hard on Ryan Tannehill, and there is times where I think that he is still, to me, just not what I envision for the Titans and a franchise quarterback when you compare to maybe some of the other quarterbacks in the league. But this past game, I can't fully put on him, even though he wasn't exactly accurate. I think 13 of 25 is what you saw from him. But the O-line was completely outmatched. It was really interesting because after the game, if you saw, and CD, you and I were talking about this, Myles Garrett just absolutely worked the Titans O-line. He was just putting on a show. It was embarrassing for the Titans O-line. And then Dillard, the Titans left tackle, he spoke after the game. And look, credit to him. I will always give credit to players who are willing to speak to media members after a performance that is not good and where they know they have to answer some hard questions. And he talked about how after the game, Myles Garrett actually gave him some pointers on how to face guys like him moving forward. So for the Titans, I don't even know what to say other than, can we just blow up this offense and start all over again? Because you can't even, when you have an O-line performing that badly, Derrick Henry can only do so much. Ryan Tannehill can only do so much. They were just completely outmatched in that game.
They were. You had Ryan Tannehill throw for 104 yards. An NFL quarterback throwing 13 for 25 for 104 yards. That's not going to get it done. Derrick Henry, who they want to hand the ball to 20, 25 times, had 11 carries for 20 yards. That's just bad offense. That's what it boils down to. They aren't getting anything. They had 130 yards of total offense.
Yeah. Tannehill was sacked 5 times in that game. Yeah, it was just bad.
You can't blow up, unfortunately, because they clearly don't have enough resources invested in the offensive line. And what we're talking about here, when Derrick Henry is 11 for 20 and when you get sacked 5 times, you aren't getting enough production up front. And that's how you change things, and you can't do that during a season.
They drafted an offensive lineman in the first round.
Yes.
He has been out for the last couple of weeks. I don't know if it was an injury or a sickness or illness. Something was going on where he didn't dress. He hasn't dressed the last 2 weeks, but you can't spend draft capital on an offensive lineman, him not playing, a quarterback, and he's not playing. You just have to figure out draft guys that are going to be impact players, especially when you draft them in the first and second rounds. You want those guys. Those guys have to be guys that are dressed and playing and able to help your team in some way. And right now, the Tennessee Titans need a lot of help.
All right.
A lot.
Second down.
Well, my second down is going to be, I lost it. Oh, hey, how about them Cowboys? Cowboys. No, they didn't play a great game.
Oh, no.
The Arizona Cardinals, I said this last week, somebody got to tell the Cardinals that they're not supposed to be winning, because clearly nobody told them that they're not supposed to play hard, that they're trying to draft Caleb Williams in the first round of next year's draft, that they are supposed to be the lowest of the low in the NFC West division and the NFC as a conference. They're supposed to be at the bottom, and yet here they are beating the Dallas Cowboys, the team that everyone praised so highly because of their defense. Now, I know some people will say, well, you didn't have Diggs playing, the cornerback tore his ACL, he's out. No. They took it to the Cowboys from the first quarter until the final quarter, and that I said it. The Arizona Cardinals are playing really, really well. They're playing tough. I don't know if it's more of a surprise to see what how the Cowboys lost or didn't show up, or how well the Arizona Cardinals are playing right now.
The Cardinals have been just exciting to see. Maybe it's just because of the connections with Joshua Dobbs, and I'm excited for him to get this opportunity. But it seems like they are just coming together chemistry-wise, and that's what is really standing out to me other than Joshua Dobbs and the way he's playing. Do you think that with the Cowboys, though, not trying to make excuses for the Cowboys, because I know that there's always, a lot out there where people are going to defend them, but they were without 3 of their typical O-linemen. I thought Prescott didn't necessarily look bad, but there was some crucial moments where he didn't look good.
He hasn't turned the ball over to the level that he did so far last year, but it just doesn't look explosive. They don't have a lot of explosive plays, and it's hard to figure out what they need right now offensively. They're just there. The defense had been playing well, but again, they had played against the Jets and the Giants, and everybody would look really good against those offensive lines. I don't know what they need, but that was a surprising loss from the Cowboys to me.
Yes.
Cowboys were favored by 11, and they lost by 12, and we got some quick analysis from a Cowboy Hall of Famer, Emmitt Smith.
This kind of inconsistency play going up against a team like New England will get you completely blowed out.
Get you blowed out. You better know that.
Yeah, buddy. Oh, guys. Third down. Okay, we know what a monster the National Football League is. They're a steamroller. They can do whatever they want. But what's the biggest story in the NFL this morning? That Taylor Swift was in a suite at Arrowhead Stadium watching her beau, Travis Kelce, and these folks from the TV networks couldn't get enough of it. They kept showing her over and over and over again. This morning on all the sports shows, you keep seeing Taylor Swift over and over and over again. Tell you what, if the NFL ever wanted to take it to the next level, they figured it out by attracting the Swifties.
No.
Yeah.
I can see that. They I don't know. For me, I'm more worried about the game than who's at the game. I want to know. I was more intrigued by how poorly Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears offense performed than I was with Taylor Swift banging on the glass when Travis Kelce scored the touchdown. It's cool, but
we saw it with Tony Romo and Jessica Simpson, and the Cowboys never did make a Super Bowl with Tony Romo. And I'm telling you, Chiefs, I know you've been there 3 times and you know how to get there, but
don't say I didn't warn ya.
Yeah.
Guys, this is a great thing. This is a lot of fun. I mean, did you guys not like that there was a Taylor Swift cam? It was a beautiful moment where she is in the suite with his mom. They're celebrating the whole time.
Let's blank and
go.
Go.
Was cute. Yeah, she did say that.
On my bingo card for Taylor
I
Swift.
thought it was cute. I just thought it was funny. All the memes coming out of it, and I assume that they're dating, right? I mean, that's official, right?
They walked out together.
No,
they walked out of the
walked out like 2 people
just
that know each other.
Yeah.
They walked out like Brooke and I walking out of the studio. They were just standing next to each other. Like they didn't look like they just looked like friends.
Yeah, but I saw that there was photos that somebody took of them supposedly driving off together too in the same car. I don't know. Maybe this will be the new it couple, a very, very powerful couple. But I thought it was cute. I do get that maybe it was somewhat of it. It was fun to see. I thought it was hilarious, and maybe they will be the next big it couple.
All right, one more. 4th down. 4th down. Guys, there are only 2 3-0 teams in the league, and this is going to be a rematch of the Super Bowl in 1984. Then it was Dan Marino and Joe Montana. Now it'll be Tua against Brock Purdy. It's going to be the Dolphins and the 49ers in the Super Bowl in Vegas.
You like that, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the 49ers are playing extremely well. And what you saw from Miami, I said offensively, that 70 points, I don't know if I don't think I've ever seen 70
points.
You have
not. I can tell you have not.
I don't know the last time it happened, but I don't think I had seen it. It was spectacular. And they didn't let their foot off the pedal. They just stayed on them and getting after them. And if you're a Denver Bronco defensive coordinator, defensive coach, defensive player Monday morning, and you wake up after that. What I don't know how you reason with what took place. When you watch that film, it's going to be a lot of hard coaching and a lot of heads down as they watch that film. But the 49ers are spectacular offensively and defensively, and Miami just looks like a juggernaut on the offensive side.
Yeah.
So that's fun to watch. You still got the Philadelphia Eagles who play tonight have an opportunity to be 3-0.
And somebody else has it, right? Somebody else is 2-0. Who is it? Tampa. They play tonight, too.
They play tonight as well. They won't be 2-0 after. But they playing the Eagles.
Yeah. You remember the old football Cardinals quarterback, Neil Lomax?
Yeah.
It was great, really an underrated historical quarterback. He played for Portland State one time in 1980. They were playing Weber State, won 105-0. 105-0. Neil threw 8 touchdown passes, I think, in the first quarter.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It was impressive.
8 in the first quarter?
Yep.
That feels illegal.
That's when you when you grab the coach on his way off the field and say, hey, we need to talk.
That's exactly right.
Okay, quick follow-up, though. And we can get into this more later. And I proposed this earlier. Jets, the worst situation, or Broncos. But now,
sorry, it was
Bears,
7 touchdown passes in the first
Bears
quarter.
or Broncos, which one is the worst situation that you think right now where it's going to be the hardest to turn around, not just this season, but also in the next few years?
Ooh, I think Chicago.
Yeah.
Because I have confidence in Sean Payton still. I don't have as much confidence in Russell Wilson, but I think Payton is good enough and he's earned enough of the benefit of the doubt for me. Matt Eberflus shows me nothing. And that's a dysfunctional, their defensive coordinator leaves and we have no idea why. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The quarterback is saying that he feels like he's not coached well. I think the Bears have big problems.
I agree. And that's coming from a team, and you're talking about two teams, one in which gave up 70 points, and you don't think that they're worse than the Bears, who gave up, 41? The Bears are in a terrible situation. They are. I got a lot of friends that are Chicago Bears fans. I went to Illinois, so everyone is from Chicago. They are Bears, bear down, bear down, bear down. Yeah, they are frustrated watching this team that hasn't had a quarterback of recognition for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like year after year after year.
Sid
They
Luckman,
can't.
right?
Him or Jim McMahon. Jim McMahon.
Yeah.
Pick one. Those are the two quarterbacks, and Jim McMahon hasn't played football since 87, 88?
Yeah, something like that.
It's been maybe 90. It's been a long time.
I think he might have been Favre's backup in the Super Bowl.
Yes, but it's been a long time since he played for the Bears. If you're a Chicago Bear fan, you have to be very, very frustrated.
Telling you, fire Eberflus and bring in Harbaugh.
You gonna get a quarterback with him?
Yeah. He developed. He turned Alex Smith into the best he'd ever been. He developed Colin Kaepernick.
He did.
Yeah, he can do it. That is 4 Downs from the NFL on 101 ESPN. Coming up, take it or leave it. Get your text in now to 314-399-9646. 314-399. Yo-ho! Tioli next on 101 ESPN.
Take it or leave it.
Want to say something? We'll put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Time for Tioli here on 101 ESPN. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. All right, kids, last year, the now 28-year-old Sandy Alcantara won the National League Cy Young Award. Of course, he had been signed by the Cardinals as an amateur free agent in 2013. And this year, it appears that 28-year-old, 2016 third-round Cardinal draft choice Zach Gallen will win the National League's Cy Young Award. Take it or leave it. The Cardinals could use these two guys.
Oh, take it. Yes.
Either or.
Yes.
One or the other.
Yeah. I have so many concerns when it comes to pitching. We were talking about it during the break, Randy, where it's when you're looking ahead to this offseason, and even if you're looking at from an organizational standpoint how they're developing pitching, there's cause for concern of if even next season you hope that maybe some guys will be ready to go, but will they be ready to go next season? Gordon Graceffo, why not have brought him up and possibly just have him come out of the bullpen? I think that you said that earlier, and I 100% agree with you. Well, you got to see what these guys are capable of, and if you think that you have all the tools here at the major league level to develop your pitchers and help them, then why not bring some of these guys up here? Because you have to evaluate everything going to next season, because my concern is not only not have enough pitching at the major league level next season, but you also have to be prepared for the depth and what you're developing in your minor league system too.
And when I look at this particular coaching staff, not last year's, because you have a new pitching coach this year, but when I look at what has occurred this year with Matthew Liberatore and with a guy like Zach Thompson saying, yeah, I started watching tape of Clayton Kershaw, and that's when things got better. But when you look at a guy like Genesis Cabrera not having a role and then going and lighting it up, I mean, unbelievable for Toronto. Jordan Hicks continuing to pitch well. I'm talking primarily about young pitchers. I don't have a ton of confidence in the Cardinals' ability to advance young pitchers like Alcantara advanced with Miami, and Gallen, when he got traded from Miami to Arizona, did. I fear that the Cardinals are going to be stuck in a malaise with young pitchers, and it's not going to get any better.
No.
I fear that.
And that's what you need. That's the most successful teams have pitching depth, right? And they're developing it at the minor league level. Mm-hmm. And this season, even if you possibly wanted to go get a guy for the minor league level, they weren't ready for that next step yet. Are we going to run into that again next season?
Yeah, it looks like teams might have been scouting CD-ROM. kind of figured that one out.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That blew up.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Being in this position, knowing that two pitchers that you've had in your organization are Cy Young Award winners or potentially Cy Young Award winners, and you don't have any of those guys on the roster right now, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yep.
Well, I felt like the Cardinals used to have like a pitching factory, essentially, of when you're developing guys and getting them to the major league level.
They still do.
They still do. I guess you're right. They're just churning them out. You're supposed to keep it, Cardinals. You're supposed to keep those guys.
We could put together an unbelievable former Cardinal staff right now off the top of our heads. It'd be crazy.
Really good.
Yeah.
So over the weekend, the Denver Broncos gave up 70 points. The Colorado Buffaloes gave up 42 points. Take it or leave it. There's a person who was born and raised in Denver, graduated from the University of Colorado, that had to take off work today.
Yep, take it.
After that weekend of 112 points, just said, you know what, I'm not going in on Monday. I'm just going to sit at home.
I think so.
It's been bad enough.
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday were you know how draining that has to be if you are a Broncos and a Colorado Buffs fan. And you just, you spend your entire Saturday and Sunday. You figure Saturday, okay, that was bad. Oof. All right, got that out of the way. We get to go to Miami. At least we'll have and then your team gives up 70 points.
Do you think it's even worse for them because there was maybe some high expectations for both teams? And look, Colorado 100% going to bounce back. I'm not worried about that. But I'm saying with the Broncos, it's been like 7 years of suffering for the Broncos, I feel like. So then that fan base has to be used to it. But is it worse that you probably got your hopes up going in the season, thinking that they would be better, and then this was the result? Yes.
You're 0-3 right now.
I don't know if I've ever told you guys this one. It's one of my all-time favorites. The late, great Bill Wilkerson was the voice of both the Mizzou Tigers and the St. Louis Football Cardinals. 1986, I'm producing Cardinal games. Bill calls the Norman Conquest, 77-0, Oklahoma over Mizzou in Norman, Oklahoma. Somehow gets from Norman, Oklahoma to San Francisco to call the Cardinals at the 49ers the next day. Cardinals lose 43-17. 77-0 on Saturday, 43-17 on Sunday. All that travel by BW. And then he had to be back at the station on Sunday morning to do the show.
It's a hard life, man.
Unbelievable.
Nobody wants to. Randy, I did the radio for Illinois for a while. It was some hard drives, man. You drive up to 6 hours to Iowa. You got to drive back. You go to Purdue. You got to drive back. You fly out to Penn State with the team. You got to fly back and then drive home. It's just it's
depressing.
And you don't have any control over any of it. You're just announcing what's happening. It's a tough life.
It's long for the ride.
Oh, man.
Well, take it or leave it, guys. We were talking about this hot new celebrity it couple with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, who is very, very famous. Take it or leave it. This is the biggest athlete-celebrity relationship since Derek Jeter and Mariah Carey. I'm going throwback with this one.
Oh, you are.
Because I just I think I feel like Jessica Simpson was big, but not Taylor Swift big. So I'm trying to think of something where two people at like very big points of their career. Taylor Swift, I mean, we've seen how much she's done with her tour, and then Travis Kelce is obviously Travis Kelce. I'm saying, like, when it comes to two people at the peak of their careers.
I think that's a great call.
During their career.
Yes. I don't know. Tony Romo, that to me, I don't know if that was as splashy. I know it was a big story at the time, but
but Taylor Swift she could be number one all time.
Yes.
Right?
Way bigger than Jessica Simpson.
Yeah.
That might be. Might be.
It's not DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe.
Oh,
no.
Now that one is all time.
That's probably the all-timer.
David Beckham and the Spice Girl?
Posh Spice?
Yeah, that don't count?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't know her name.
Oh, Victoria Beckham? Yeah.
Oh, how about Verlander and Kate Upton?
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah. But she's not Taylor.
What about Russell and Sierra?
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a good one.
Because he's playing poorly?
CD, I said peak of their careers.
Tom Brady and Giselle.
Tom Brady. I would still go in terms of visibility and popularity, but Taylor Swift, she sold out sold out 6 concerts at SoFi.
Okay, some people are texting in J-Lo and A-Rod.
That's
fair. I think that's fair.
By that time, A-Rod was done.
Yeah, he was
playing.
done playing.
I don't know, guys. I think that every once in a while you get some big ones, and I think this might be the best or biggest since Mariah Carey and Derek Jeter.
Of being active in their profession. I think that's a good call. Yeah, because A-Rod was retired unless we're counting A-Rod the active broadcaster, right?
Yeah.
So I would argue that, I don't know. Taylor Swift, she tips the scales, right? Taylor Swift is as big as it gets.
Yeah. Because in most of those, would you say the athlete is probably the more famous?
That was my point.
And she's more famous than Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Like, this is the one where the celebrity is more famous than the athlete.
Yeah.
How about Carrie Underwood and that player?
Mike Fisher. What do you mean that player? Mike Fisher. He's a Nashville
Mike Fisher.
Predator.
Thank you.
Don't say that player. He's a Nashville Predator legend, okay? They'll raise a banner for him. Don't you say that.
They'll raise a banner for everybody.
They'll raise a banner saying, married Carrie Underwood.
That's right. What's their banner like? What, Western Conference runners-up or something?
Oh, I know. They'll never escape it.
Yeah.
They'll never escape it. It's never going away.
Matthew, what do we got on the text line?
Really simple. Police report there was an indoor fire somehow in the Predators facility. Just, oh no, what happened to the banner? What happened to the banner? Oh no. Oops. Take it or leave it. The Blues are more likely to return to the playoffs in 2024 than the Cardinals.
I will take that.
Ugh.
I think the Blues are going to make the playoffs this year. They're a pretty confident group over there. They got a lot of good players.
The Cardinals don't make the playoffs next year?
I don't have confidence in the Cardinals being able to fix this.
Or this city might explode, and rightfully so. It's just, it's bad. It's not good. I do think the Blues possibly have a chance, but it's still going to be tough because I feel like the teams that you're thinking of the first in their division are going to be Dallas and Colorado are still two teams that you have to figure out how to get through, and they've made some good moves.
Yeah. I wish I had more confidence in the Cardinals in this being a one-off. I just don't have confidence that this is a one-off.
Take it or leave it. College game days in Columbia in 2 weeks for Missouri LSU.
Leave it.
Yeah, it's going to be there.
Leave it.
Now, why would you say such a thing, Kerry? It seems like you have water. You have water in there, or a certain kind of sports drink.
Listen. It's not gonna happen. They play Vanderbilt this weekend. Yes, they'll be 5-0. What games take place in 2 weeks? Let's see. Let's take a look-see and see what actually is happening in the landscape of college football, where you may have a game in Mizzou.
So this will be week 6?
Week 6. Texas and Oklahoma. Texas is number 3. Oklahoma is 14. That is a problem for them.
But they aren't going to do that at the Red River Shootout or whatever it is. Because nobody shows up. Game day doesn't do it from there because there aren't any students there.
Game day. Texas and Oklahoma, I think.
That's not a huge draw at the Cotton Bowl. It's just not. For game day. People aren't going to show up in the morning
maybe
at the Cotton Bowl. They don't.
I'm looking at this. What time do they play? They play at. They don't have a time on there.
They don't. Yeah, they're not going to pick times for the big games yet. It'll be movable.
At Columbia, has game day been to Columbia before?
Yeah, they played number 1 Oklahoma in 2010.
And who won that game?
Mizzou won that game, baby.
Nice. Good job.
How'd it go? It went freaking fantastic. One of the best days of my life.
Maybe. Let's see what LSU does
might have
this
been
week.
The biggest is still the biggest attended college game day ever. The crowd was bananas.
We were there at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Someone from the 636 pointed out game day has gone to OU Texas 3 years in a row. They won't go fourth.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm surprised that they have. I didn't think that they. I know that they draw in Norman. I know that they draw in Austin, but I'm surprised that they go to Dallas. And
Randy, think about it from the production side. Think how many times you can use the the shootout effects. Pew 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 throughout the entire college game. Every time you go to break, bang 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 bang. It's the easiest. It's cheap pops all day long. Why wouldn't you do it?
But you can't do that now. It used to be the Wed Wivo shootout, and now it's the Wed Wivo Wivo. Yep, it is.
Take it or leave it. SCL needs to use some of that Rams money on the dome. Especially a new field. STL needs to use some of that Rams money on a dome, especially a new field.
Well, so I think, Randy, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like there is, so I saw some people talking about this on social media. There's a misconception that all that money is going to be allocated towards the St. Louis Sports Commission, but it was divvied up between 3 different entities.
Correct.
So you had 3 different people trying to come together on a decision on how to spend this money. I think some of the money, how much was it that they dedicated towards the St. Louis Sports Commission? But I think they're using it towards
it's less than
renovation.
Million,
yes.
And it's going to convention center.
To the convention center, which they do get more of. I would love to see the Dome get some more renovation so that you could attract some bigger games, because I think that St. Louis is a sports town. If you continue to build around that, then that's exactly what they should be doing. But getting everybody to come together on that money is hard. And I think that you hear that number and you think that can go a long way. Sometimes it really doesn't. All this stuff is really expensive, sadly.
And the turf was unattractive, but it wasn't dangerous. The turf is 8 years old. It was this particular surface was purchased for the last Ram season here in 2015. Yes, they need to clean up, and they need to get people out there and use some Windex and stuff like that. But overall, you're not trying to build the Dome up to meet NFL standards now.
That was going to be my thing. If you're not using it as often or weekly or, why would you put as many upgrades in it unless you plan on using it. I mean, I know the Battlehawks play there. Unless you're going to use it more than, what is that, 6 times a year?
Right.
7, 8 times a year?
Yeah.
For football, I don't think you would spend money on that.
Right.
I would just like to see maybe some of the other parts of it get upgraded.
They should
possibly.
have more games there. We used to play our first 3 games. Our first game of the year in high school used to be at the Dome. Like Hazelwood had a contract where we would play Hazelwood East Central and West would play opponents the first 3 games of the year. First game of the year for all 3 high schools would be there.
And if you're playing Thanksgiving weekend of the championships, they should all be at the Dome.
Yes.
Every single championship game should be at the Dome.
Do they have them down, are they in Springfield now?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Where they
Yeah,
don't have a dome. I think it might be cold and snowy and rainy and miserable.
Yeah, the high school championship games obviously absolutely need to be at the Dome. One more, Randy. Take it or leave it. When you factor in the first rounder Chicago already has, plus what they're getting once they draft Caleb Williams, that is a more attractive franchise for a head coach than Denver.
I'm going to leave it simply because I think that the Bears ownership has established themselves as bad.
That's good.
And the new Broncos ownership has not established themselves. So at least you give them a chance. But the Bears ownership, the McCaskey family, they're bad. And bad owners are where bad teams start. Thank you, Matthew. And thank you very much for your text. Coming up, the things that make you happy in sports. I had one happen yesterday. It's next on 101 ESPN. It was cool to be over at the Dome on Saturday and see so many people arriving via Metro. You know, one of the things that MLS wanted was public transportation close to their stadium, and we have that here in St. Louis with Metro. And if you want to support the community, and all you have to do is ride Metro. That supports local businesses and helps reduce traffic congestion. And we all know a healthy, vibrant public transportation system is critical to attracting business that create a significant amount of jobs in the region. We already have great public transportation with Metro. If you want to explore the city without the stress of driving, the Metro can take you to so many popular attractions and events. And if you value safety, well, the Metro has security measures in place to ensure the safety of you, their passenger. If you need flexibility, Metro offers various ticket options and schedules to accommodate your busy lifestyle. Whether you're going to a sporting event, whether you're going to work, whether you're going shopping, you need to try out Metro. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive because of Metro Transit.
perspective on the day's top stories. It's the Opening Drive's Fresh Take.
Brought to you by Schnucks Rewards. Reward yourself. Earn 2% back on every purchase with the Schnucks Rewards app.
Well, Greg Amsinger of MLB Network and I are having fun because we've kind of, this football season, we have returned to our youth. And that it's pretty cool to be a fan of a team again. Not that I have a total emotional investment, but it is fun to have, just a return to my younger days.
Did you say youths?
Yeah, 2 youths.
No, my youth. And that is liking the Cardinals, even though they're in Arizona. Well, one of my favorite things is having my team win, which is the Arizona Cardinals. But when I was a kid and throughout my adult life, my favorite thing is when my team beat the Dallas Cowboys.
3rd down and goal. Fake to Connor. Dobbs retreats and floats for the end zone. It's Brown. It's a touchdown.
Hollywood Brown with the touchdown. My Cardinals knock off the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? 28-16. I always enjoy it. I enjoy it even more since Jerry Jones ripped my St. Louis Rams from St. Louis. I always enjoy it when the Cowboys lose and when the Rams lose. And those are the things that make me happiest in sports. So thank you, Arizona Cardinals, for making me very, very happy yesterday and today. I thoroughly enjoy it.
Nice. Good for you.
That's nice.
My thing that made me happy was watching my Steelers on Sunday night get a victory, get a dub over a Las Vegas Raiders team. The offense starting to figure it out, just slowly but surely. But that defense, man, I will take that defense against pretty much any team in the league. They had some struggles in the first game of the season versus the San Francisco 49ers. However, defensively, they get after the quarterback. They make plays in the secondary. They cause fumbles. They cause turnovers. They're a really good team, and watching them beat up on the Raiders was made me happy.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing this weekend, I was telling you guys before, I know that you were talking about just all the drama surrounding Josh Allen, Randy, and you were talking about some of the takes that people had, but I told you, the NFL is a soap opera. Week in and week out, there's always going to be some interesting story, and we've already touched on it, but I absolutely loved everything that unfolded with that Dolphins and Broncos game because of the drama happening on both sides. One, for the Dolphins to dominate in a fashion like that. I mean, that was like video game numbers that offense was putting up. It was absolutely unreal seeing that happen. And the final score, it was like, is this a basketball game? Like, what is going on here? To put up that many points in that fashion was just really interesting to see because of all the storylines going into the season for both teams. And you look at Sean Payton, and there was all these videos coming out of Sean Payton talking about how Tua, he's not going to be like a quarterback. Remember during his broadcasting days with Sean Payton, talking about how Tua is not going to be essentially the quarterback of the future for the Dolphins. Well,
kind of looks like he might be.
He might be.
Yeah.
And then you have Mike McDaniels, and he get him overlooked with that Broncos role a while back too. And so there were so many different storylines going into that. So I just always love some of that drama that comes out of the NFL between the two teams. And the Broncos, I'm interested to see how this goes moving forward. Is Sean Payton possibly going to be in the hot seat for this? To me, I know that Russell Wilson, got a lot of flack and a lot of attention going to this season, and rightfully so in certain regards, but that almost makes it look like when you're looking at this team so far, the defense is a huge issue. And so then it's going to be interesting to see how they handle all these missteps moving forward, because to me, I didn't think Russell Wilson is the biggest issue in that game.
Does it bother you that a Walmart-owned team allowed 70 points, or does that bring a level of glee?
I think a little bit of glee.
A little bit of glee for me.
Yeah.
Of course it makes me happy.
Yeah, he said that he didn't mean that though.
No,
don't. Just because
Uncle
Carrie,
Stan,
stop it! Don't do
he's
this to
a
me.
Kroenke fan. He roots for the Nuggets.
You're just plain rude. You're just plain rude, is what you are.
For the Nuggets.
I'm not rooting for the Nuggets.
You
well, I
do
root for the
root
Nuggets,
for
but
the
doesn't mean I root
Nuggets.
for Stan Kroenke.
Kind of does.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Kind of does.
And then also after the game, Sean Payton was very testy with a certain reporter when he asked him about this really, really bad start to the season for the Broncos.
I mean, I'm at a loss for words because I've never been I've been on the other side of some games like that, and then every once in a while in this league, you get your butt whipped, but this was more than that.
I know that you said it's embarrassing, but this is kind of an historic game.
I'm aware.
Third time the team has scored 70 points, over 700.
What's the question?
I mean,
what's the question?
How do you feel about it being
I just finished telling you.
Historically embarrassing.
Next question.
So you guys, here's the thing. With Sean Payton, I know that, there was a lot that he had to take on coming into this role, but also I can't help but remember the Tua comments and the Hackett comments on the way out, and then you see what's going on right now with the Broncos. Like I'm saying, there were so many storylines with this game this weekend, and I don't know how the Broncos, just move on from this and how they turn things around moving forward, because your defense is absolutely terrible.
And I was thinking, well, in the last 2 years, they've traded Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. Nobody else has allowed 70.
Yeah. Not great.
There's a lot of defensive players have been traded, and teams haven't allowed 70.
That was bad. You know what else I do like that makes me happy is coaches being confrontational. Like I do enjoy that. You got to see Dan Lanning being confrontational with the win over Colorado.
Yeah.
You saw Ryan Day calling out Lou Holtz. What type of man calls out Lou Holtz? Everyone loves Lou Holtz. However, just the anger, the amount of passion that goes into this sport, even as a coach, I love seeing that. That makes me happy. When I see coaches kind of sparring at one another, and Deion and Prime said, you know what, they kicked our butts. They did. He said, get me now, because when we get better, it's going to be a problem. So I love it.
Yeah, and that reporter, too, in that situation probably loved it, too, because that sound went viral. It was all over social media, so I would rather have a passionate coach than somebody giving you coach speak in that post where you're like, well, great, what am I going to do with this sound moving forward?
Yeah.
Not much.
There's a lot to make us happy about in sports. It's wonderful. Coming up, the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber. The Blues taking on the Blue Jackets tomorrow night, and you'll hear it here on 101 ESPN. Kerb's next on the opening drive. Hey, I want you to know about Schnucks Rewards. I am a Schnucks Rewards member, and you should be too, because that way you can reward yourself daily with the Schnucks Rewards app. You'll earn 2% back on every single purchase. It's simple. All you need to do is download and then shop, earn, and redeem. Show your barcode in the app or use your phone number at checkout, and not only do you get points for money off, but the Schnucks Rewards app has a lot of other features designed to make your grocery shopping easier. You can shop directly in the app or order delivery or curbside pickup. Your schedule, Schnucks delivers. It's effortless. If you can't find breadcrumbs, it's easy with the item search in the app. You'll also find hundreds of exclusive digital offers and coupons, personalized savings delivered to you in an instant. You'll find everything you need. Everyone is looking for ways to save a little bit more these days. Well, why not be a Schnucks Rewards member and get 2% back on every single purchase you make? Reward yourself. Download the Schnucks Rewards app today and start saving money on your groceries when you go to Schnucks.
The voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Back in preseason action tomorrow night when they take on the Blue Jackets. You'll hear the action here on 101 ESPN with the pregame at 6. Brooke, Carrie, and Randy, and we go to the celebrity line now. And the voice of the Blues here on 101 ESPN, Chris Kerber, joins us. Kerbs, good morning. How you doing?
Randy, doing awesome. How are you guys?
Everything's great. Any initial impressions from camp and the first couple of games that the Blues have played?
Well, obviously, I saw the home game. I did not go to Wichita. Andy Zilch and Matt Lashoff handled that one for us. I think my biggest impression so far out of camp through the first 3 days plus the games on Saturday is honestly the size of some of these players. Now, we're not going to see some of them for a little while yet. Some will go back to the minors. Some will go to junior hockey. But it is clearly kind of a restocking of some size in the organization, and that I think was something that the team in the last 2 years felt might have been missing. But my goodness, are you seeing it in camp right now?
That is really good to see. So you're just talking about like bigger guys out there. Is that what you were referencing?
Yeah, just bigger players. I mean, you've got to be able to withstand the grind of the season, and you're always careful because, like, when I say smaller players, like, you can have guys that are 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", and they can play, and some have had great careers and continue to have good careers in the NHL, like a Torrey Krug. But you can only have so many because eventually the size of some of these teams will wear you down. Now, I'm not saying you need an entire team of 6'5", 6'6" guys, but it's that 6'1", 6'2", with some meat on the bone kind of players that can withstand the pounding, that can get in on the forecheck, that can skate with some speed, that can wreak some havoc, and just more of that and that approach. The other aspect, honestly, that you're seeing is there is definitely a focus on intensity right now. I thought the first half of the game, the home game Saturday afternoon, was as good a physical preseason game that honestly we've seen in a long time. I said this to Joe on the air. I said, you know what? I think our first game last year was in Wichita. And about halfway through that game, I was pretty much done with the preseason. Right? So, and this one was, you could see the fatigue of the first game kind of wear in, so it got less physical as the game went on. But man, there was some bodies thrown around, and it was fun to watch. So I think the size, I think the intensity, I think the take some skin aspect of Craig Berube and that approach to camp off the bat is very evident.
Well, kind of staying on that, I wanted to ask you specifically about one player, Scott Perunovich. I know in that 3-2 win over the Coyotes, he had an assist. What did you make of his performance? Because it seems like this is going to be a pretty big preseason for him to prove himself going into this year.
Yeah, it's an important preseason. It's an important year. Can he stay healthy is really the biggest key for him. I mean, and then can you get into the lineup and be able to make an impact there? I thought he played a terrific game. The puck was on his stick a lot. He was able to skate with it. He was able to move with it. Craig Berube has talked about what's important for him is to, and I guess like this is important for Scott. But if you think about it in sports, this is really important for any pro athlete. You've got to use your skill set. And for Scott Perunovich, his skill set is skating and moving the puck. Now he's not the fastest skater, but just smart skating. Be aware. Have that anticipation to your game, where you can just wait a little extra second, sidestep the forward coming in to hit you. He smacks the glass, you skate away with the puck and put a tape-to-tape pass. And really, like his first pass out of the zones were good. His touches of the puck were good. And just playing to his skill set. And look, guys, he didn't play an NHL game last year. Played 20 games in the American Hockey League after recovering from that injury. So part of his camp this season is also just getting your feet under you and getting back to some of the speed of the game at the NHL level.
Curbs, Cardinal fans have suffered through a terrible season. So I need to know, for Blues fans who are one and the same, what is the realistic expectation for this team this season?
Well, Kerry, as you know, we're high on hopium. Well, I honestly, I can't answer that. I can't answer that right now. And the reason is okay, you brought up the Cardinals. I'll relate it to this. The Cardinals this season had a season much like the Blues last season, where your expectations were much higher than the results that came. That can happen for a variety of reasons, injuries, whatever, lack of performance. But in my opinion, one of the things that happened to the Blues last year and happened to the Cardinals this year is there were certain key question marks that you were hoping that guys would fill that role. Who's going to be your third through fifth starter for the Cardinals? Who's going to be your top, fill out that left wing in the top six for the Blues, right? And over the course of a season, you never had anybody step in and take those roles. And then things start to spiral, and I don't care what it is. Most teams, if it starts to spiral out of control, it's hard to get, even if you got veteran players back in control. This season for the Blues, you have enough skill on this team to make the playoffs. You've got a defensive core that backstopped you 2 years ago with the goaltending you have to a 110-point season, right? You've got enough forwards with skill in the lineup. The question that you've got from the forward standpoint is, are they going to take that next step? Are you going to be better defensively against the top lines if you're Kyrou Thomas and Buchnevich, for example? Who's going to slide into that top six? Does a Jake Neighbors move into a top six? Does he move into the top nine consistently? Do you get enough beef on bun on that bottom line, that chips in, 8 to 10 goals apiece kind of thing? And so do they have the players in camp to do that? I believe they do. The question really is there some of those guys going to take the next step to make that happen? And that's why this is a transition year that could put you back in the playoffs, or having you knock on the door and just see what happens. And so I guess that leaves you high on hopium, because there's question marks to be answered.
But Kerbs, the nice thing for the Blues is that there are players that have the talent that if they perform up to a reasonable NHL level, they could be playoff players. There are some teams out there that even if their guys play their best, they don't have a chance. And that's a credit to Doug Armstrong and the staff, that the Blues up and down the lineup have enough talented players that if they play up to an NHL level, Verana is a perfect example. Kyrou is a perfect example. Those two guys play a 200-foot game. We know their skill level in the offensive end, that they can be, if they play reasonable defense and they back check, that they can be good players and they can be playoff players.
Randy, you go back to when Doug Armstrong took over in 2010. And that's right at the time that Oshie and Backus and Berglund and Perron and these guys are ready to really start to make a difference in the NHL. You can say that they've already had a couple years of getting to know the league. And what did Doug do? He brought in guys like Jason Arnott, like Jamie Langenbrunner, like Daryl Sador. And he brought in veteran players on just some one-year deals to help continue to teach these guys to win. You've got some younger players, but Doug Armstrong, unlike the Edmonton Oilers, unlike the Buffalo Sabres, unlike the Toronto Maple Leafs, he didn't let any of these young guys figure out how to play in the league without being surrounded by veteran guys. Mm-hmm. So even though a season ago he talked about this team being in transition, and it is a transition year, but he didn't hesitate to go out and say, okay, I didn't re-sign Ryan O'Reilly. I'm bringing in Kevin Hayes. I'm bringing in a guy that's a character guy for the room, which I know I need. I'm bringing in a guy that will be willing to play second-line center, third-line center, a guy that, can get you 25 goals and 50 points over the course of the season. He brings in a Nick Ritchie on a PTO. We'll see if he makes this team to put pressure, to keep competition up on guys. Like, he's not letting anybody be comfortable, but he's also not letting any of the young guys swim in the deep end, without some help around. And I think that is why, when you mention the skill that you have, if they perform to even, doesn't have to be to the top level of the game, but if they perform reasonably to the level that they should, this could be a very exciting year for the team. And Braden Shen said it at our Blues and Brews event on Friday night, which, as you know, Randy, you were there, and Brooke, you were too, just a great event. Braden Shen said, he goes, there's a lot of people sleeping on us right now. He goes, and we're fine with that, but I think we're going to surprise some people, and I hope that's the case.
Curbs, always great to hear your voice. Thanks so much. We'll be tuned in tomorrow night, Blues and Blue Jackets here on 101 ESPN.
All right, guys, have an awesome week.
You too. Thank you. Great to have hockey back. That's Chris Kerber, the voice of the Blues here on 101 ESPN. By the way, my Fox 2 show last night, the 101 on Sports, we featured Doug Armstrong, Craig Berube, and Jake Neighbors. And Doug Armstrong said, yeah, we expect to be a playoff team. So you can go watch that on our YouTube channel where you're watching us right now on YouTube. But that show with Army, Berube, and Jake Neighbors is there. And it's good to have those expectations. You should never go into a season. You should never have to go into a season where you say, yeah, we don't expect to make the playoffs.
I hope so. It's a full calendar year of no playoffs.
That's enough.
Blues, hockey, and Cardinals baseball.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for SC.
Yes.
Yes.
Thankfully.
If you are not going to make the playoffs, just warn everybody beforehand so they don't have to, go out and buy tickets. That would have been nice if the Cardinals did that this season. Yeah.
I think that would be nice.
The Yankees did that one, or not the Yankees, the Rangers. They wrote a letter to their season ticket holder, said, yeah, we're going to be in a rebuild. Yeah. And then they did for a couple of years.
Respectfully.
Coming up, we've got the fight. Do you need a fighter, Matthew? We do need a fighter. So if you will text in to 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO, and put your name and the word fight on your text, perhaps Matthew will pick you to fight with me next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Kerry, and if your deck is in bad shape, then let me tell you about my friends at STL Design and Build. I was in the same spot. My deck is over 10 years old. It looks awful. The folks at STL Design and Build have begun the process of helping me get a new, up-to-date deck at a fair price. Now, I knew my deck was in bad shape. I knew it looked bad, but I had no clue how bad it really was. I have learned during the process that my deck not only looked bad, but it was not up to code after years of wear and tear. They have shown me the steps to get me in the right place. STL Design and Build is an award-winning company taking home top workplace award as well as the best home improvement company. They truly believe in treating people how they want to be treated. They have helped me every step of the way in this process. I've been able to work and track my progress through the Builder Trend app. My project coordinator, Becky, keeps me up to date with the ins and outs of the entire process. I'm looking forward to having my new deck and being able to enjoy a few more cookouts with family and friends before the weather starts cooling off. STL Design and Build. The STL stands for St. Louis, but it also stands for Sky's the Limit. Check them out today at stldesignandbuild.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals over the weekend fall to the Padres 2 out of 3 games, including a 12-2 loss last night. And also over the weekend, St. Louis City SC with a 2-1 comeback victory over Minnesota United FC. We're going to have the head coach of City, Bradley Carnell, joining the show coming up at 8:45 here on the opening drive. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimby and Rocc. What'd you say, Rocc?
Oh, it's a wonderful day for the fight.
It's a wonderful day for the fight. That's not what's happening.
Is what he
Get outta
said.
here.
Welcome back to the open drive. It's time for the fight. Our fighter today is Tristan. Tristan, how you doing?
I'm doing good. What's up?
You ready to take on Randy Carricker?
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. The Patriots won their 15th straight game against the Jets, tying the longest active streak in the NFL. Which AFC West rivalry also holds the record? Is it the Chiefs over the Broncos, the Raiders over the Chargers, or the Broncos over the Raiders?
Broncos over the Raiders.
All right, the Dolphins gained the second most yards in NFL history yesterday with 726 against a hapless Broncos squad. Rocky, you didn't have to add the hapless. Which current NFC franchise holds the all-time record? Is it the Rams, the Giants, or the Packers?
Can you repeat that question?
The Dolphins gained the second most yards in NFL history yesterday with 726 against a hapless Broncos squad. Which current NFC franchise holds the all-time record? Is it the Rams, the Giants, or the Packers?
Packers.
That game by the 1951 Rams faced off against the New York Yanks. Future Rams owner Carol Rosenblum bought the Yanks franchise and turned them into which eventual AFC franchise? Is it the Colts, the Titans, or the Chiefs?
We'll go with the Colts.
On this day in 2000, Vince Carter jumped over an opposing player for the greatest dunk in world basketball history. Which team was the U.S. men's national team playing in that game? Was it Lithuania, Serbia, or France?
Serbia.
All right, let's double check that score and we'll bring in Randy Carricker.
Tristan, how you feeling?
I don't really know any of those questions.
Yeah, blame Rocc. You know what, Tristan? Don't blame yourself. You know sports. Just blame Rocc. These were some intriguing questions that we had on the fight. He had a weekend where he rested. Clearly, he came in on Monday. He's super excited and felt the need to beat up people, not only on the radio, but on the text line as well. Mm-hmm. He's a bully. Yes. He's a bit of a bully, Randy.
Oh.
Randy
says he's not a bully. He said,
that's what all bullies say.
I'm not a bully. Come on.
Randy, say hello to Tristan.
Tristan, good morning. How are you?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks for playing. We appreciate it.
Of course.
All right, Randy, here we go.
All right.
The Patriots won their 15th straight game against the Jets, tying the longest active streak in the NFL. Which AFC West rivalry also holds that record?
Of current victories against a team? AFC West. It's got to be the Chiefs. And it's not against the Raiders. So is it the Chargers or is it the Broncos? I'm going to go, because the Broncos have been bad for a long time, that it's the Chiefs and the Broncos, with the Chiefs winning.
The Dolphins gained the second most yards in NFL history yesterday with 726 against a hapless Broncos squad.
Wow.
Which current NFC franchise holds the all-time record?
Of yards in a single game? That would be the 1951 Los Angeles Rams, led by Norm Van Brocklin and Bob Waterfield.
I'm glad you asked for clarification because you never know. We might sneak something in there.
Mm-hmm,
you know?
All right. Yeah. That game by the 1951 Rams faced off against the New York Yanks. Future Rams owner Carol Rosenblum bought the Yanks franchise and turned them into which eventual AFC franchise?
Carol Rosenblum bought the Yanks and turned them into the Baltimore Colts, and then traded the Baltimore Colts for the Los Angeles Rams. Bob Irsay, I believe, wound up with the Colts. So it was basically, yeah, I'll trade my team for your team. It was an interesting deal. Colts.
Colts. Final answer there. Okay, final question. On this day in 2000, Vince Carter jumped over an imposing player for the greatest dunk in world basketball history.
Is this factual, or is this somebody's subjective opinion?
I don't know how you could say anything else would qualify, Randy.
Okay.
I feel like
maybe the greatest dunk ever.
See?
Like, not just...
I'm dumbing it down by calling it by qualifying
history.
world basketball history, Randy.
Might be the greatest dunk ever.
I'm dumbing it down.
That on video, let's say that.
Okay.
Someone can show me a video. I mean, I'm sure their videos, they said Earl Manigault used to touch the top of the backboard chain, put dollar change up there. Yeah, I don't know.
Dr. J had some pretty good dunks back in the day.
Yeah, but this was over another person.
Guys, this is one guy.
So he was posterized. Okay.
Not NBA.
This is over a human being.
Okay, so what's the question again?
Do you want me to restart it? Okay. All right. I was going to say, I'm just going to restart the question. It's okay. On this day in 2000, Vince Carter jumped over an opposing player for the greatest dunk in world basketball history, possibly ever. Which team was the U.S. men's national team playing in that game?
In 2000. I'll do the old lifeline here, Brooke.
Lithuania, Serbia, or France?
I will. I'm going to flip a coin between the EAs. So we've got Serbia and Lithuania.
What about France?
I'm not going to include France, even though you'd think that he would posterize. You know what? I'll go with France because I think French people are easier unless you get to Wemby now. But historically, French people have been easier to posterize, where they're just looking up and saying, "Oh my God, that's Vince Carter," and I'm looking at his crotch. So yeah, I'm gonna go with France.
Well, we have a winner in today's fight. Does Randy's mistrust of countries with letters that end in IA come back to bite him? Or and Tristan walk off with this one on a Monday? Or does Megamind just keep rolling with another week with wins? Ring that bell.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Just win, baby.
So, question: Do you think that, like, when that happens, like when Geno Smith saw Aaron Donald coming, do you think that the French guy says, "Oh my God,
oh my God"?
Nicely done, Brooke. Tristan, I'm sorry you heard Mr. Buck there. Randy Carricker got all four right. He beat you 4-1 in the fight today.
Yep, figured that.
It'll happen. The Patriots won their 15th straight game against the Jets, tying the longest active streak in the NFL, which AFC West rivalry also holds that record. It is, in fact, the Chiefs over the, what did I call them? Hapless? Yes, hapless Broncos. The Dolphins gained the second most yards in NFL history yesterday against that hapless Broncos squad. The current NFC franchise that holds the record is, in fact, the Rams, and as you found out in question 3, it was the 1951 Rams facing off against the New York Yanks. The Yanks would move to Dallas for a little bit before then all their assets and everything would be bought and moved to Baltimore, where they would reconstitute an old Colts franchise. And then, of course, Carol Rosenblum trading the Colts for the Rams. So the Colts the answer at number 3. And on this day in 2000, Vince Carter jumped over an opposing player for subjectively the greatest dunk in world basketball history. It was, in fact, France. Kerry Davis, you got the name for me?
No.
Frederick Weiss was the Frenchman
who got I remember the dunker, not the donkey.
That's why I made it just the country for the question. And a 4-1 victory for Randy in the fight today. Again, Tristan, thank you so much for joining the fight and joining the show.
Of course, appreciate it.
Thanks,
Good job,
Tristan.
Tristan.
By the way, you guys know I'm shallow, so I'll start with that. But one of the greatest days of my life was when the Rams snapped their 17-game losing streak to the San Francisco 49ers, October 10th of 1999. It was just such an awesome day, and it was beautiful, kind of like this day. And it was just 42-20, and they kneeled on the ball at the 1-yard line. They could have gone in and run up the score, and they showed a little mercy on the 49ers. And then that was the game where Bill Walsh, who was the general manager of the Niners at the time, walks in on Dick Vermeil's press conference and grabs him around the neck and says, "You're going all the way, baby." So the opposing team's GM came in and told Dick Vermeil, the coach of the Rams, "You're going all the way, baby." And then the Rams did. It was pretty cool. Coming up next on 101 ESPN, we're going to talk to our friend Bradley Carnell, the head coach of City SC. He's next on 101 ESPN. If you are desiring just a delectable lunch today, I'd love to have you stop by the Fenton Barn Grill, and they have their delicious specials of the day. For Monday, it's pork loin with mashed potatoes, brown gravy, and salad, or your vegetable of the day, all for just $14.95, and that is astonishing. You will love the food at the Fenton Barn Grill, whether you're going for the burgers or their spectacular trashed wings with their golden sauce, which is absolutely enticing. You'll love all the food, but you'll love all the people at the Fenton Barn Grill as well. You can stop by and say hi to Kelly and Colleen and Megan and the whole crew, and they'll take care of you. They're so friendly. And of course, when you stop by the Fenton Barn Grill, your fellow customers are talking about sports. You won't have a better time than you will at the Fenton Barn Grill. They have a glorious patio, and you will just have a heavenly time. It's easy to get to. All you need to do is go to the soccer park and then follow Rudder Road to the Fenton Barn Grill. Plug it into your GPS, and you'll get there. Easy to get to. Great place for a business lunch, a spectacular place for maybe after a round of golf. You will have just a wonderful time at the Fenton Barn Grill. Learn more at FentonBarnGrill.com and tell them Randy sent you.
City knows how to play.
Oh, that's completely given away. And it's an equalizer.
In a word, chaos.
Oh, it's a giveaway to Klaus, who flips it over Sestiega and scores a wonderful goal.
We're breaking down City SC on the opening drive in our weekly segment we like to call Controlled Chaos.
Brought to you by Keystone Event Staffing. Better people mean better events.
These guys, Klaus has a winning mentality. He just energizes the whole group when he comes on the field.
Crossage in the air, Klaus header! Oh, baby! Why are you kidding? We are tied! So Klaus!
You get to see, when Jubbs is in the groove, he's almost unplayable. He's really, he's so silky and smooth. And
one back toward Blom in the penalty area now. Yeah! Oh, baby! Chapulo Blom makes it 2-1 City!
So, yeah, we really displayed a good level of maturity and quality in that second half.
That is the head coach of St. Louis City SC, Bradley Carnell. As City's excellence continues, you heard Klaus scoring the equalizer and Blom scoring what stood up as the winner in St. Louis City's 2-1 win over Minnesota United the other night on Saturday night. And Bradley Carnell joins us now on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. Very good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me again.
We always enjoy having you. And that was a busy week last week. You go Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, and your team came away with just a magnificent week. You must be really happy with the body of work over the last week or so.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to go back through the body of work throughout the season and even the body of work of when times get tough and the results not going our way, but still trying to find a way to build and be one step better than the week before. And I think, for me, it goes back a few weeks ago. The Orlando game for me, we go down on that game, but unfortunately, that reward that doesn't get rewarded. But the boys did really well, and we had a tough, away stretch. We had 2 home games and 4 away games in that stretch, and then 3 back-to-back away games. And then we get the results in 2 of those games. So really, really good stuff. And I think it's just building process and building blocks and getting to a step where we kind of got to in the last game against Minnesota, where we are able to believe in everyone. We are able to get a performance. We are able to get results. And again, it's just a reward for the hard work that these guys put in.
Well, and as you were touching on there, Coach, it really was just a full team effort, and it has been such a daunting stretch for you guys. And I love this past weekend and the victory, the way that you were able to utilize so many guys to get that final result. You had 8 starters rotating in and out of the game. Was that more of just kind of a game plan approach, fatigue, or what was the idea and approach of rotating those players in and out?
I think you're the only one who liked it. Before the game, we got a lot of flack for that one. And I look at it, a lot more holistically. And it's very easy to say at face value, we changed 8 guys and to go into all of that. But if you went into each player's profile, and you would see that Jake Nowinski has racked up 1,900 minutes throughout the season. A lot of those starters, I think, cumulatively, without Roman Burke, they had over 15,000 minutes of playing time together, right? So, people don't really get to see that. All they see is 8 name changes from the game before. But, we've interchanged and we've kind of had this hybrid system where we can plug in and play different players in different profiles and different positions. So, credit to these guys. They stuck it out. We got through to halftime exactly just like the game plan. We could have gone up with Celio Pompeu there, 1-versus-1 with the goalkeeper. Sinclair makes a good save. But again, the ability to bounce back, and this is what I've loved most about this team, the ability to bounce back, whether it's been in form, results, or moments during games. We've always found a way to kind of bounce back, and, we've never been steamrolled, my feeling anyways. We haven't really been steamrolled, So credit to these guys, and then when you have the luxury of bringing in some key guys who have come back from injury, like Klaus or Eddie Leuven, or, get guys on the field that are gelling and clicking together at a really high level, then it just makes, it makes my job look easy.
Well, and what I was saying with that is I know that some people might have liked it, might not have liked it, but still getting that result in the end, I think, says a lot about how you're building the system and how so many guys are able to buy in. And so seeing that on display, I thought was fantastic for you guys.
Yeah, thank you. And that's what we've believed in from day one, right? So we've believed in the team approach, the team first mentality, and the collective buy-in. And I think that was on full display the other night.
Coach, you all are clinched a spot in the playoffs for this season. You all are trying to clinch the #1 overall seed in the Western Conference. Is that something that you talk to the team about? Do you all have conversations about what that could potentially mean?
Yeah, we've never really chased history looking too far ahead of ourselves. We've always looked short term, right? So the next game, the next 3 points, the next play in the game. So, now that there's only 4 more games or 3 more games, we kind of told the boys now, we check these boxes, we've got the playoffs. Now the next box to check is home playoff match, right? So, which means a top 4 finish. So once we check that box, we've just equaled or 16 wins in a season for an expansion team, you know. So now we have 3 games to set that record our own, right? So, which, you know, that's an incredible feat with the way this team was forecast and projected to finish and to break those records and to accumulate all those accolades throughout the season. This is going to be one hell of a season regardless how we look at it. But just thinking that we can set records and be the sole owners of a lot of these things that, teams who've tried it many times before have not succeeded. So, you know, I think this is a moment to cherish, but we're not stopping anytime soon.
Bradley Carnell, head coach of St. Louis City SC, with us on 101 ESPN. Sporting KC here at City Park next week. How have your players taken to the rivalry? Obviously, the fans have bought into the rivalry with Kansas City, but how have your players taken to the rivalry with KC?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, we try and, you know, for sure we want that rivalry to grow. For sure we want that rivalry to be edgy, for sure. And I think the way the last game went in Sporting KC down in Kansas, I think that's starting to show signs of, you know. I think both teams were at different moments in form in the first game. So, I mean, the first game, you know, if you based on performance, there was no rivalry, right? So, and then the second game, a really tight game, could have gone either way. They win the game, you know, but I thought we gave as good as we got and were able to at least tie the game. We don't have a result or a decision go our way. So there were many moments in that game where we lost momentum through no fault of our own. So that felt like an edgy game. That felt like there was tension in the air, and that felt like a rivalry game. But something like this has to establish over time, right? So, and the more reps we get against Sporting KC, the more that rivalry can grow. So, you know, we host them back at City Park, and we know that's a different animal.
It was really exciting to see Blom this past weekend. Offensively and defensively, I thought it was a great performance from him. And we talk a lot about chaos here, but how important is a player like Blom to bring in a sense of calm to the lineup?
Well, he brings a sense of calm, but he brings a sense of chaos too. You see the way he jumps on and pounces cat-like on balls, you know, like he just jumps and forward defends and intercepts plays, all right? So, and that's why I, you know, use the cat analogy, like just jumping and playing around with a ball of wool or a ball of fur, right? So that's like Jubbs. He's just on the pounce and then on the ball. Him and Edu Leuven have a unique, plus Indy Vasilev, I would say, have a unique ability between lines, under pressure, central, to get balls in tight spaces to turn and play forwards, right? So, and that's what we request of our sixers, right, holding midfielders. But then the ability to now squeeze the game, to the ability to connect your front line once the ball bypasses you. And that's how he gets his chance top of the box, which is amazing. He had a good shot in the first half that gets blocked, goes out for a corner kick. I think that one could have broken the net as well. But then the ability to turn on his left, go on his right, and then have the moment of pause and composure to find the upper 90. And it just shows, you know, even the fans in South Africa are saying, we've never seen this from Jubbs. So it just shows, like, Jubbs has grown in 8-9 months that he's been here, and we hold Jubbs in high regard around here. So we're enjoying every single day with him. He's growing to become a young, fine man and a true teammate as well. So, you know, we're still early in his development here.
Finally, Bradley Carnell, you mentioned all the minutes that so many of your players have played, and you do get them a little bit of rest during games. But with only 3 games left in the season, how, if at all, have you changed training as you get ready? Are you keeping guys off their feet a little bit more in training as well?
No, it just depends on the environment and the workload. So if we go Sunday or Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, obviously the loads are really low, and we're just trying to get similar levels to the players who have not played or featured. So then we'll have sometimes 10 guys on the training field, the other guys doing regen. So it's a lot of split group sessions and guys peaking at different times or getting different loads to other players. And then later on in the week, we kind of get them at the same level and then get them ready for match day. So it's a lot of time management, a lot of man management, and it's a lot of group management. So, you know, I think we have an incredible staff here who do a good job, and, you know, we have a full trust in what we're doing here, and that stood us good through the whole season. And we have one more tricky stretch now where you know, we go home and then we go away Wednesday to Vancouver. So that's the tricky one as well. So we'll have to see how we mitigate that, but there should be no worries about putting 2 good strong groups around you, if not the same group come Wednesday.
Thank you, sir. We always appreciate your time. Great to have you with us. Congratulations on the win over Minnesota, and have a great week.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me over.
You bet. Take care. That's Bradley Carnell, head coach of St. Louis City SC. He is great, and obviously he's done just a fantastic job. There's no reason to stop. This team is so confident right now, and they're really playing great. There's no reason to change anything.
No.
And keep trying to win.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, what he was touching on earlier with, being able to rotate some of those guys in and out. I know that some fans are not happy to see that, but playing 3 games in a stretch of 8 days, I think coming away with a victory in that, and that you were able to rotate 8 players in and out, I think says a lot about how this system is something that a lot of the players are buying into, and it's working for them.
It's even more grueling, Brooke, if you play 3 matches.
There you go.
Exactly. The matches.
I think the thing that has helped them is the injuries. I mean, you get injuries during the season where guys have to step up and play, and now all of those guys are back healthy. It just made your team stronger, because the old saying, you're only strong as your weakest link. You have guys that have had opportunities to play when Klaus was out and guys were down injured. So you have those guys that are prepared, and now everyone is playing at their best.
And Klaus will be in mid-season form when the playoffs start. And hopefully we'll keep St. Louis City SC atop the table, and we'll just...
In their kits.
In their kits, yeah, as they hit the pitch. On the pitch.
Keep winning matches.
Coming up, we've got our rush hour reset here on 101 ESPN. It is officially fall, and that means winter is right around the corner. And I got to ask you a question. Are you a member of the Hoffman Brothers Home Protection Plan? If not, what are you waiting for? For as little as $34 a month, you can join the club. And as part of the Home Protection Plan at Hoffman Brothers, you not only get 2 semi-annual visits for your cooling and heating systems, but free filters shipped to your home. You get discounts across all of their home service lines: heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, sewers, drains, and appliances. The best part is you can schedule your service online 24/7 at HoffmanBros.com. Call to join the Hoffman Brothers Club today. They're an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. They're easy to get in touch with. Just call 314-664-3011. And now some memberships are going to be more based on how many systems are in the home. So not everyone is going to get it for $34 a month. But think about getting that free visit to make sure that your furnace is good to go for the winter. Make sure that you get in touch with Hoffman Brothers. Again, the number 314-664-3011. Hoffman Brothers, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
It's 9:06 in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers and officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Brooke Grimsley and Kerry Davis. I'm Randy Carricker. Good to have you with us. The Cardinals off today in Milwaukee after a 12-2 thrashing at the hands of the San Diego Padres yesterday. Lucan Baker hit a home run, though.
Nice.
That was nice. CD-ROM, he got burned.
Okay.
They burned
He
the
got
CD.
burned.
Yeah.
Just like back in did you guys burn CDs?
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys burn CDs?
Napster.
Oh, I was a LimeWire gal. Just tearing up my parents' computers. Yes.
I had
takes days.
I had something called BearShare, which was like
what?
It was called BearShare, and it was LimeWire without as many viruses.
I didn't. How did I miss that one?
I don't know.
I loved LimeWire.
Yeah.
Good times, man.
Yeah. So
somebody was on the phone at the same time. It's like, hey, get off the phone. I'm on the internet.
Yeah. By the way, the Cardinals, if you aren't aware of it, they have clinched last place in their division. So,
No, we're not clapping for that.
Well, they did accomplish.
Well, that's probably not the right word.
The Cardinals have 6 games left, and if they win all 6, they would have 74 victories. The Pirates would have to lose all 6, but then the Pirates would win in a tiebreaker. So the Cardinals are going to finish in last place for the first time since 1990.
This has been dreadful.
It has been bad. So let's move on from that. Cardinals are going to wrap up their home season, by the way, this weekend against the Reds, and it's an homage to Adam Wainwright all weekend long. So that part of it will be good.
We have a bird watch next segment. Do we? Is there anything?
Might be some bird droppings there.
Okay.
Might be.
Flying away.
Yeah. Missouri comes away with a victory over University of Memphis on Saturday night. You probably are already aware of that, 34-27. Illinois beats FAU. The final there over Florida Atlantic was 23-17. And you just heard Bradley Carnell earlier. He and St. Louis City SC with a 2-1 win over Minnesota. And we were talking during the break how somebody that gets an expansion team needs to name it their City Football United. So like Sacramento gets a team, and it's Sacramento FU.
Yeah,
Oh,
FU.
okay.
Yeah, Football United.
There might be some issues.
What's wrong with that?
FU kind of stands for some other
Football
things.
United.
Football United. Where are we?
I think that acronym might mean
is that
something
the same
else.
FU that I heard at the Missouri game?
Oh, yeah.
They're singing that song?
Yeah.
About KU?
They like that. Yesterday in the NFL, the Broncos... they didn't have a good day at the office. 70-20. 10 touchdowns. The Dolphins beat the Broncos.
It was just so bad. We were discussing it earlier. Where do the Broncos go from here for the rest of the season? Your defense is what it is. Obviously not good. Sean Payton with all these expectations coming in, and I know that you still believe that he will be able to turn things around, and that's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be the quarterback guru. I don't think Russell Wilson is the problem right now.
No, they've got a lot of issues.
They have many issues.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson did not look bad last week against the Commanders. This week, I mean, when you're down as much as they were down early, they were down 35-0, I believe, in the first half. When you're down that much that early, your game plan, you might as well take that paper, throw it up, rip it up, and throw it away. There's no more game plan. I've been there. There's nothing else you can look on that sheet. Everything that you planned for, you got to change at that point. So
yeah,
I think that is, as much as we've been excited about Sean Payton coming to Denver and correcting some things, it's not looking great for him. And you have to, it starts with the head coach. I won't put this solely on Russell Wilson. You have to start with the head coach. If you give up 70 points in the NFL, Randy, when was the last time that happened?
That was 1951.
I wasn't alive.
I wasn't either. I'm old.
And so if you are creating history in the wrong way for your football organization, you, sir, you can be mad as you want to be at the reporters. You need to be look in the mirror. Hey, I got to figure something out.
Fortunately, it's not 13 games in; it's 3 games in, and he can.
It's 70 points.
Well,
it is.
It is,
points.
and it was just so bad because we were talking about earlier too. Is just the way that this season going in, the things that he said, I know that he was doing some broadcasting stuff, the comments on Tua, how that didn't necessarily pan out. So just the soap opera of all this stuff coming to light. What he said about Hackett, too, and that going into this. And now you're 0-3 on the season. I will say, though, credit to Mike McDaniel and everything they're doing with the Dolphins right now. They are such an exciting team to watch. And we were talking about storylines. I love the Mike McDaniel storyline of he was born and raised in Colorado, Broncos fan. And I think it was even like 2 seasons ago, the Broncos, didn't even interview him. And to me, I felt like he had that chip on his shoulder going into that one, in that coaching matchup at least. And his team, obviously, way, way better. Tua's fantastic. It was exciting to see the Dolphins do that.
Yeah, and I just really wonder if the Broncos, this year's Broncos, can bounce back, because in addition to not playing well, they just don't have many players. They're just, they suck.
They're not good.
No.
It's intriguing. I mean,
do they, if they have the first pick, even with all the investment in Wilson, they have to take Williams, right? Or a quarterback.
Yeah, but what do you do with that money? Are you going to just let him go? You can't.
Eat it.
No one's going to trade for him with that salary.
No, you got to cut him. His career might be over.
He's 34, 35?
Yeah, that's tough to hear. This is a guy that, 5 years ago we were talking about potential Hall of Famer. And just kind of falling off. You get the bad year. Seattle has a great year without you. You have a bad year in Denver. You get a new head coach. Hopefully, you kind of blame Nathaniel Hackett for what last year was.
Yeah.
And so you get a new head coach who has won a Super Bowl, who has coached an elite quarterback in Drew Brees. And it looks like this. And like I said, I can't put this game solely on Russell Wilson.
No.
That is a head coach issue, giving up 70 points to the Miami Dolphins.
And after the game yesterday, Wilson was asked how bad this Broncos defense could be.
Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He listen, I can't blame him. How many times did they turn the ball over yesterday?
Mr. Unlimited.
Because I believe they had a few turnovers. I know they had Cortland Sutton fumbled once. Russell had one interception. They turned the ball over a few times.
Yeah. The Cowboys lost to the Cardinals. Go Cardinals. How about them Cowboys? 28-16. Cardinals over the Cowboys. And Matt Gay set an NFL record. The Colts kicker had 5 field goals of 50 or more yards, or 4 field goals of 50 or more yards in one game, including the game winner over the Ravens.
Snap good, hold good, kick on the way, and he's done it. Matt Gay splits the uprights, and Indianapolis beats Baltimore in overtime, 22-19.
So the Colts get a surprise victory.
Yeah, it was. Without their starting quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
And one other note, both in addition to the Dolphins win yesterday, 70-20 over the Broncos, the Chiefs won big against the Bears, 41-10. Both teams are sensational. Both teams have the most prolific offenses in the NFL. Both teams play in Germany on November 5th at 8:30 in the morning, only on NFL Network.
8:30 in the morning?
That's
oh, my God.
Your Dolphins Chiefs game is in Germany at 8:30 in the morning on November 5th.
I'll be watching.
Yeah, but that only on NFL Network, is that really the way you want to sell? I guess you don't care about selling the NFL in
Probably not
America.
the way they wanted to go, but, you know, that's going to be...
Will it be a shootout?
Probably. I don't know. Miami looks like the real deal.
Good.
Yes.
They do. And
But
they've got
Spags
some
has
guys.
his defense playing. So
Yeah, but I always, I'm an offensive guy, so I always feel like good offense, no matter what you, especially with the amount of weapons that they have.
Rules.
Yeah, that too. It's definitely in the offense. Did you see the dang on roughing the passer penalty that Minka Fitzpatrick got?
Yeah.
I'm so sick of the NFL.
Yeah, me
and
too,
these soft rules that they have established.
Yeah, they have.
That man got tackled, and they threw a flag.
It's ridiculous.
Come on.
There's your Rush Hour Reset on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've got bird droppings for you.
Hit it out of the park this baseball season at DraftKings at Casino Queen. Book DraftKings at Casino Queen's Stay and Play Baseball Hotel Package. The Grand Slam Bundle includes one-night hotel stay, 10% off casino dining.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and this year I'm taking up a new hobby, one that I know will last a lifetime, and that is golfing. And I'm learning at the best spot in town, that is Family Golf and Learning Center. I've always wanted to learn how to golf, but was just really intimidated and didn't know where to start. But after my first couple of lessons with RJ, Melissa, and the wonderful staff over at Family Golf and Learning Center, I was actually able to hit it straight and most importantly, just feel comfortable out there. That's what they do there at Family Golf and Learning Center. With several pros on staff, they have the ability to help anyone with their golf game. Like if you're just like me starting out or you want to improve your game, they provide a friendly and encouraging practice experience for the individual and for the family. All abilities and ages are welcome. Also, while you're out there, go check out their new Back Nine menu. I had so much fun going out there recently when I went out there and was able to get the buffalo chicken wrap with the corn fritters on the side and their adult Capri Sun. It was a great day to go out there in the range and have that. So for more information, go to familygolfonline.com. Learn, practice, play your best golf.
We're flying down to the field to give you the latest on your St. Louis Cardinals. This is Bird Watch on the opening drive.
Cardinals off today in Milwaukee. They'll take on the Brewers tomorrow night, and then Wednesday and then Thursday afternoon before coming home to wrap up the season against the Reds at the ballpark this weekend. And it'll be Thank You, Adam Wainwright weekend for the Redbirds. It's time now for a Monday version of Birdwatch here on 101 ESPN. Anybody going to do Birdwatch?
No.
I guess not. Okay.
More of a bird dropping, I think. So I'll start us off. Guys, Nolan Arenado dealing with a back injury. I'll pause.
How long
he's had that?
Yeah, about a week back.
Yeah, it seems like this has been bothering him for even longer than a week back because he went on the injured list, and it's something that you could tell has been hampering him, I think, all season. I know, CD, you touched on this early on the season, but you could notice it even more so towards the end here. Did you guys notice it when he was running? And when he was running, it seemed like he was in pain a lot more. And times he was making plays, you could tell that his back was injured and there was something more going on there. So I think it was a great decision for them to shut him down for the rest of the season. Oliver Marmol talked a lot about it this weekend, and that you know that it has to be something serious with Nolan when Nolan is the one that approaches you saying, okay, I think it's time for me to go to the injured list. And especially if you look in his final 26 games of the season, did not homer. And he, in the first half of the season, he was hitting .283 with 19 home runs, 62 RBI, and an OPS of .850. But if you looked at his production in the second half of the season, dipped to .241 is what he was hitting, 7 home runs, 31 RBI, and an OPS of .663 in the second half. So you could tell that that was really starting to hamper him more and more so towards the end. So hopefully shutting him down, he'll be able to get better, and this won't be a lingering issue for him. But as you guys know, with the age factor coming in, I think that's always a cause for concern.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you have a bad back, if you have a weak back, only for just a week back, it can be really bad for your team. So, yeah.
It could be, especially
when you owe a bunch of money for a lot of years.
Well, that's the thing about those back injuries. As I said earlier in the season, I thought he was dealing with that for a majority part of the season. It just looks like it's in pain. It has been in pain. They don't get better, especially if you continue to play and do the same amount of work that you've been doing all season long. It's not going to get better, and probably is at his breaking point. The team is not going to the playoffs, obviously. They're not a really good team this year, so he finally probably had to save himself from himself. But that's, that should be the training staff, the coaches, everyone should be tuned in and watching and seeing, hey, if this is hurting, we got to figure out how to get it better so that we don't go into the offseason with lingering pain and have to start off next season potentially in pain as well.
Yeah, so that's Nolan Arenado with back issues, Nolan Gorman as well. Is there somebody else that I'm missing that's been dealing with it for about a week back now, the back issues?
I think we had a few. Matt's is a lat injury.
Yeah, but enough. Yeah, I think
it's close to the back.
Yeah,
the Nolans, that is definitely concerning. Hopefully, shutting it down will help for next season.
If your first name is Nolan and your back hurts right now, text in to the Air Comfort Service text line. Just tell us if this is a name thing.
Yeah.
So my bird splat is: do you all have an issue with the Cardinals bringing up players who are, let's say, well-traveled, not much experience in the majors?
Yeah.
Playing.
No, not now.
Well, in general, because the reason why I ask is because wouldn't you rather have a younger player gaining that experience?
Are we taking more shots at Taylor Motter here?
This is not Taylor Motter. Taylor Motter isn't on the roster right now, last I checked. But Casey Lawrence is.
C-Law, yeah.
Siani is. Karakudo. Irving, who I didn't even know who he was until.
Is it his first name or last name?
That's a good question. See what I'm saying?
Where's he from? Berlin?
No. Irving Lopez. It is his first name. Irv.
Thank you, Matthew, for getting that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, we talked about Wilking Rodriguez. Guys, do you see a theme?
I do.
Of guys that maybe haven't played much throughout their entire career.
But we've got a really smart organization, CD.
That doesn't seem very smart.
We're seeing...
What seems smart to me would be having younger players, younger in there. And again, I was a journeyman. I get it. I played on multiple teams. I have nothing but the most admiration for a man that is willing to plug his way through for multiple years with no guarantee that you're going to make a club, that you're going to make a team. I salute you. I do. But as an organization, you can have one or two of those guys. You shouldn't have 8 to 10 of them rotating throughout your roster the entire season. And the Cardinals have had Maybe 6 to 8.
Maybe they're looking for market inefficiencies. Maybe they're finding something that other teams just are missing out on.
What type of analytics are they doing?
The old father time analytics. I don't know. I think that that's a very fair point, CD, because my biggest thing is I would like to see the younger players get a chance because you have to figure out so much going into next season. Why not give guys a chance? Why not give Moises Gomez a chance? There's so many players I can think. Gordon Graceffo. I mean, some of these guys to bring up, and I know that it's a roster number thing. It doesn't have to be, is what I don't understand. Especially on the pitching side, you have to figure out what you have going into next season. And I'm not saying that Gordon Graceffo or Michael McGreevy are ready to go for next season, but why not just go ahead and start getting them some reps so you're not going to continue to be in the same position that you were going to this year depth-wise?
Fair enough. Splat. Wait, we can do splat. Brooke, we don't need to go with young pitchers. There's pitchers out there that the Cardinals can get. Let me just give you some names because Mo has made it clear that the Cardinals need 3 starting pitchers, right? Mm-hmm. Well, there's this kid. Colorado is not great this year. They're 56 and 99. They're 56 and 99. So 66, 76, 86, 90. They're 43 games under 500. They have a pitcher that is at 500. Their team is 43 games under. They have a pitcher that's 9 and 9. They got to go get this kid. His name is Austin Gomber. I don't know if you ever heard him. He with a 5.5 ERA. But you don't have to stop there.
He was here at one point.
Oh, well, okay, I'll give you another new name, CD.
Okay.
This kid named Zach Gallen. He's with Arizona, 17 and 8 with a 3.49.
They traded him away.
Oh. Okay. I apologize. Okay. You need a new name. You guys want people that you don't know about. There's this kid in San Diego named Michael Walk who's now 13 and 4 with a 3.39.
I hate to burst your bubble. He was actually a Cardinals pitcher as well.
Really?
Yeah, he was on the roster. He actually pitched really well.
Okay, well, then let me give you a new name. This guy he's with the Dodgers. He's 6-2 with a 4.4 ERA with the Dodgers. His name is Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn is a guy.
He was a Cardinal.
Oh. All right, I apologize. There's this guy with the Rangers. Rangers going to the playoffs. This guy with the Rangers named he's 4-2 with a 2.92. His name is Jordan Montgomery. New guy. He was
here this year, and the Cardinals thought that he wasn't going to. They decided to be sellers at the deadline.
Well, then here's what they need to do. Because sometimes you got to roll the dice on a guy that's hurt and hope. They did it with Chris Carpenter. Remember, Chris Carpenter was hurt, and then they brought him in, and so there's this kid in Miami named Sandiel Contra.
Randy. He was also traded a while back as well. They got an outfielder that climbed walls for him. That was like 12 feet short of what the ball was.
So the Cardinals are looking for a bunch of new starting pitchers, but
it's 12 of them on the roster.
We already had these guys.
Every one of them.
Never mind.
They were all here. We got the bats, though, baby. We got the bats.
It's like you're saying. Maybe developing some of the pitching is not an issue because they seem to go fine, elsewhere. I don't know. What does that say about the organization more? And they're flourishing elsewhere. Jordan Hicks doing great.
We got bats, baby.
We got
bats, baby. We're in St. Louis. What'd you get? We got bats, baby.
You just have to outslug every single opponent on a consistent basis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Offensively, no, you don't need pitching, right?
No, you kind of do.
You don't win with pitching.
No, yeah. I think you do.
Okay.
I think it matters in this sport.
That's the bird droppings on 101 ESPN. Coming up, could Mizzou be a serious contender for the SEC East? Oh, my. It's next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN is presented by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. GetJim.com.
MVP's bonus days are back at Lowe's. Shop the largest selection of Klein tools and get 5 times the bonus points. Plus, right now, buy a DeWalt Power Stack battery kit and get a select DeWalt Bear tool free, up to a $249 value. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid 9/18 through 9/29. Subject to change. DeWalt offer valid through 10/11.
Hi, it's Randy for my friends at Golf Discount of St. Louis. When I'm Hey, if you are in the market to sell your home, I have good news for you. The market is still in your favor. However, between the holidays and now is the last prime time of year to sell your home to receive the most money. Gloria Lou says you can't time the market, but you can sell your home in the months that are statistically the most profitable, and that time is now. Let's talk real estate for a minute. If you need a reliable, experienced, and trusted agent, take it from me and get to know Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Here's why you should call, because Gloria's name is her promise and says it all. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria has mastered the home selling promise by guaranteeing upfront and in writing to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, and that's guaranteed in writing. Does your agent compare? Gloria has solutions for every type of home seller. For sellers who want a fast sale with no hassles, Gloria's 24-hour cash offer solution is a great option to consider. No showings, no costly repairs, and you pick the closing date. You always get the highest cash offer bid from Gloria's database of buyers in what she calls her cash offer bid box. Call Gloria 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals dropped 2 of 3 against the Padres over the weekend. They are off today before they start one of their final series of the year tomorrow against the Milwaukee Brewers. Over the weekend, St. Louis City SC with a 2-1 win over Minnesota United FC. You can hear our interview with head coach for City Bradley Carnell on the 101 ESPN app and 101ESPN.com. Also over the weekend, Missouri over Memphis 34-27. Illinois over FAU 23-17. And Monday Night Football is a doubleheader tonight. You can catch game 1 here on 101 ESPN, 6 p.m. pregame for the Buccaneers and the Eagles. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Action here. Brady Coleman letting it absolutely fly. It's caught by Marquise Johnson. The ball's a flag on the play. Got it. Theo Weiss. Touchdown, MIZ. Back to Schrader. Explosion of speed. Cody Schrader. Get in there. Touchdown, Missouri. 37 yards.
The call from ESPNU on Saturday night. Mizzou's victory over Memphis 34-27 propels them into the top 25 right now. The Tigers are number 23 in the country. They have Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt on Saturday, and the Tigers have been known to slip up over the years. You would hope that Eli Drinkwit's squad will be able to handle Vanderbilt, and then they run into a gauntlet. They play LSU on October 7th. That's a home game. If you're 5-0 heading into that game, and LSU certainly hasn't been world beaters so far, took a last-second field goal to beat Arkansas on Saturday night. LSU, if you look at their schedule, appears to be beatable. Kentucky is 4-0. That'll be another tough one for the Tigers. And then they always have that tough one against South Carolina. South Carolina is always tough. And then after South Carolina, you take on Georgia, number 1 team in the country. Tennessee, 21st ranked team in the country, and Florida, 22nd ranked team in the country. But right now, the best non-conference win in the SEC East is Missouri's victory over Kansas State. And I think Missouri does have a chance to do some good things. Do I think they're going to be able to win this conference or the division? No, but I think that they can be a contender for a New Year's Six bowl game if they can get by LSU. That's going to be their big game. They have a chance to be a team that, with a loss to Georgia, could play in a New Year's bowl game.
Yeah. Is there one of these teams that are coming up and looking past Vanderbilt for obvious reasons, but LSU, and then you have Kentucky, but even that Georgia game and Tennessee game, a Florida game, is there one of those that you guys think that they can come away maybe with a shocking victory?
I think they could beat Florida at home. I don't think the Gators are that great. And by the way, they're number 22. Mizzou's number 23. Mm-hmm. The way Missouri has performed against Tennessee so far, you wouldn't think so, although this is a different Tennessee team.
This is a very different Tennessee team
than the one that Josh Heupel has had in his first couple of years. And Georgia's just going to be awesome. They're always number 1 or 2 in recruiting. And even though they lose a lot of people, they lost their quarterback, they lost their running back, their defense has turned over almost 100% in the last couple of years, and they sent pretty much everybody to the Philadelphia Eagles, but they're still awesome. And Georgia should not lose a game.
They shouldn't. As far as when you're looking at the Mizzou Tigers and what they've done, they are the only team in the SEC that hasn't played an SEC game yet. This will be their first one going into this weekend versus Vanderbilt. So that may be a little bit interesting, concerning. I don't know that this team – LSU is going to be a tough task, playing LSU in a couple of weeks. Going to Kentucky is going to be a tough one. Going to Georgia, obviously. Tennessee, I think, is a really good team. And you talked about one of the best wins for the SEC in Mizzou beating Kansas State. Florida beating Tennessee a couple of weeks ago was a really good win for them as well.
Yeah, I'm just talking about non-conference.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a really good win. It's going to be hard, and I'm probably going to sound like a hater, a Mizzou hater, which I'm not. I'm just a realist. If I looked at Illinois playing this schedule, I would feel very thrilled about what's in front of me. Vanderbilt should be a win. If they struggle at Vandy with Vandy, that'll give you a telltale sign of what this team really is and truly is. They should beat Vanderbilt. They should be 5-0 going into LSU. But after that point, I don't know where they get the next win from. Maybe at South Carolina versus South Carolina at home. They always play them tough. I think Kentucky on the road is going to be a really challenging matchup for them. So
they always are.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, it'll be interesting. This start, though, to give Mizzou and Eli Drinkwitz and them all the credit in the world, this is a start that you needed for them to get off to even have this conversation that we're having right now about if they could contend in the SEC East. I do think offensively, I like the progressions that they have made. Is there any concern that you guys have about Brady Cook and his health moving forward? I know that he obviously played through, and that's fantastic, but are you guys concerned about that at all?
I think it has to be a concern, because now you've had 2 weeks in a row where he's been banged up. And
especially as you get into this SEC schedule.
There you go, right?
Yes.
Once you start getting into the SEC, then you have much more physical play and more physical defense. The other problem that Mizzou has to deal with, they have to clean up a couple of things. Number one, you can't turn the ball over, especially at your own 10-yard line. But you have to have the confidence when you're an SEC team. In my opinion, if you're an SEC team playing against Memphis or an FCS team, you should be able to line up and pick up a yard and not even think about throwing the ball. And that led to, when they failed on that 4th down the other night, that led to Memphis coming back down the field and making it a game. And you have to have the ability to play smash mouth football in this conference. And you have to have not only the ability, but then the guts to call it. And they didn't the other night.
To me, watching them play Saturday, they looked like a really good team for the team that they were playing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they play, because they bullied Memphis up front, they were able to run that zone, that outside zone. They were running the ball down Memphis's throat at will when they wanted to, how they wanted to. They were able to get that. Against an SEC team, an SEC front seven, I don't know that takes place in that manner. Now, if it does, hats off to them, but they were able to get what they wanted to get against Memphis because Memphis isn't as big or as strong up front. I think when they play against other SEC teams, it'll be a little bit different.
And you're going to have to find an alternative because the cream of the SEC is going to find a way to slow down Luther Burden. As great as he is, you're going to have to find an alternative to Luther Burden providing all of your offense.
Yes, and Luther has been fantastic too, and I think there has been, some progression offensively with some of the play calling that you've seen, more at times aggressive play calling that you were wanting to see from Kirby Moore and Eli Drinkwitz in those first 2 games of the season, and hopefully they will be able to continue that. But like I said, my biggest thing, I think Cook has been, great this season. My concern is health-wise, what that will look like as we get into this daunting part of that SEC schedule, because as you said, CD, just being a realist, that is scary when you look at that.
He looked pretty healthy Saturday, even though, I know he had the knee injury, the hyperextended knee the week before. He looked pretty healthy going in that game. He looked okay. I don't think that'll be an issue. I just think, as Randy said, when you have Luther Burden with 10 catches and then the next receiver has 3, that's the problem, because teams are going to say, okay, throw it to somebody else.
Right. We
know he's dynamic. We're going to take that away from you. Who else on that offense is going to be able to make a play? The running backs, I thought, did a really good job. Schrader and Pete did outstanding running the football. Like I said, with that offensive line, they're going to have to find other playmakers, because as they get into the conference play, teams are going to know that Luther Burden is the one to make sure he doesn't get off.
Tigers at Vandy on Saturday, and you can't overlook Vandy because they are an SEC team, and you win that one, then you're 5-0 against LSU, and you just have fun. That game apparently is already sold out, I heard, the LSU game, so it'll be a good big crowd at Faurot Field. It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we're going to head down the stretch with Rocc and Roll here on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke Grimsley. Ever since I moved here to St. Louis back in 2018, I have loved exploring my new home, and thanks to Metro, they make it so much easier to do. I have lived in other cities that didn't provide public transportation, and believe me, it led to congested traffic, and it made it harder to get to events like concerts and to games. But that's why I love Metro Transit. It's easy to access for everyone, taking you right to Busch, City Park, Enterprise, and more without the hassle of parking or even waiting in traffic, just getting you straight to to the action. Even if you haven't given Metro a try yet, it's something that I can promise you other places wish that they had available. There's many benefits even if you don't ride. A healthy and vibrant public transportation system is critical in attracting businesses that create a significant amount of jobs in the region, and of course, it helps many get to their jobs. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. Thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
Guys, if you are already fatigued on this Monday morning, there might be a reason for that. If you wake up and you're tired in the morning, maybe you just don't have that energy to get through a day and coach your kids' teams at night like you thought you would be able to, could be a problem with low T. Low T causes a lot of issues with fatigue and with anxiety for guys, but it's a problem that can be solved with Mentality. Go to lowtusa.com and find out about what Mentality can do for you. What they're going to do is find out where your testosterone level is, and then they're going to restore it to where it was when you were in your 20s. And that'll restore the energy. That'll reduce the anxiety. It'll make you feel better. It'll make you be the guy that you want to be. As we age, our testosterone level does reduce, and this is a problem that can be solved at Mentality. They're going to work with your insurance company, provide the lowest out-of-pocket expense possible for you, and they're going to restore your energy level to where you want it to be. If you are a person that uses your body for your job, Mentality can do wonders for you. I see guys in there every week that are feeling so much better because they use Mentality. Go to lowtusa.com, set up your appointment today in Chesterfield or South County, and get back in the game. Be the guy you want to be with Mentality.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
It is time for Rock and Roll as we head down the stretch of this edition of the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Balloon Party coming up. Matthew, what do you got for us?
All right, we have a couple NFL topics that we talked about earlier today that we have to re-hit because they're so important, and that, of course, is what did Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid think about the special guest at last night's game?
Yeah, I mean, she's a pop star. She's a tremendous singer, tremendous at everything she does, and I haven't got to meet her, but I mean, I guess if she ends up being with Travis, then I'll probably get to meet her at some point. So it seems like a good person. So hopefully I get to meet her one day.
You know what? I've met her before. Adam, I set him up. I just leave you with it.
Andy Reid's my favorite person in the NFL, and it's not even close. Just I set him up. You guys didn't know that?
Listen,
come on now.
I don't think that they are together. I think they're just friends.
They drove off in the drop top cut.
It was romantic.
Have to do.
It was
with
romantic.
It looked like they were shooting a rom-com, Carrie.
Yeah, okay.
So you think it's a publicity stunt?
I mean, they could be friends. I don't think that they are together. I think it's good for both of their careers if they are thought to be together. And then if they're not, if they're just friends, that's fine. I would say this. How long have they been rumored to be dating?
2 weeks now?
It's been like quick.
Has it only been 2 weeks?
No, because it was at the, he gave her something at the concert in August, right?
Yeah.
Or he 1 and 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
It seems like this has been like an ongoing
So about
thing.
a month.
It was already going when he came out on the field after week 1 with the knee brace and did the twerk, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is her new guy." That's like the Taylor Swifties found it.
So
yeah, but since I would say right around week 1 of the season is when it happened.
I would
2
say, come on,
2-3 weeks.
Come on.
Maybe there's been some stuff behind the scenes too.
It could be. I hope so.
I mean, full on.
Those crazy
You
kids.
all just go ahead. Maybe I'm the negative Nancy on this one.
You
this
don't
is
wanna see
surprising
it?
though, Rock, because normally you are the one that is the negative one.
I love Carrie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Or whatever this
you
is.
do, or whatever this
All right.
is. This is obviously
You say so.
big time pop star relationship. I was telling you guys earlier, and take it or leave it, I think that this is the biggest one. When you're talking about a player still playing and at a peak and a pop star at their peak, this is the biggest one, I believe, since Derek Jeter and Mariah Carey.
It's a pretty big time.
Possibly.
Yep.
Yes, possibly. It's interesting. There's a lot of stories coming out of it. A lot of Swifties super excited.
Yeah, it is I have to wait a while for it to be true, for it to be found
for
true.
you to buy in.
Yeah, give me 3 months, 6 months in, then we'll talk about it.
Carrie, you want something?
And 636. There you go. Who the hell cares? I'm with you. All right.
God.
And they've literally, it's still on TV right now. They've been talking about it on every
Who the hell
single
cares?
show.
Everyone who, every
Not
casual football fan,
Not everyone.
who's not like a diehard football fan and like found another way to get involved in this game because they were watching it last night.
Not
Like
everyone.
this brought people, like people were caring. Who don't usually care about football is all I'm saying.
Did they?
Yes, they did.
Are you
Trust
sure
me.
about that?
Dude, trust me.
Well, listen, you might be the
Swifties
of all things that if you care, you might be right.
Swifties are.
You because you don't care about
Usually,
much.
yeah,
Me?
usually
No.
he's
So
the
if
Debbie
you
Downer.
might be the you might have a point there.
I'm saying, just
I don't care. I cared more about what was going on the field and watching Justin Fields.
That's you.
Stink up the joint.
That's you.
To me, that was
frustrating
more
for me.
interesting, seeing Taylor Swift than Justin Fields and the Bears. Just absolutely
People show up
bad.
the games all the time.
Well, fine, Carrie. You want something a little bit more concrete? I'll give you something a little bit more concrete from this last week of football. This is from OptaStats on Twitter/X. Since the 2-point conversion was adopted in 1994, the Raiders are the only NFL team to attempt a field goal in the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter when down by exactly 8 points with less than 5 yards to go for a first down.
So,
the first team ever, Carrie, in
fourth down.
30 years.
It was fourth down. They tried to score. Obviously, they didn't get in. I didn't have a problem with it because, and I would assume that doesn't count playoffs because I think the Packers did the same thing a couple of years ago.
Yep.
So it can't include the playoffs because the Packers did the same thing against the Buccaneers when they should have tried to score. That was a different situation. You were facing Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You were facing Kenny Pickett and the Steelers. They aren't a juggernaut offensively. I didn't have a problem with it. I think you get a stop there. They weren't showing a lot of life offensively. The Steelers weren't. So I didn't have a problem with you kicking the field goal, 3+ minutes left, all of your timeouts, 2-minute warning. You got a chance to stop them, get the ball back, and now you can win the game as opposed to tying the game.
I looked at it a little bit differently. Didn't matter what they did, they weren't going to win.
Well,
the Raiders just aren't good enough to do that.
Maybe not. The Steelers' defense is really good.
Yeah.
That's that is part of that.
By the way, if I'm trying a 2-point conversion and I am the Oakland Raiders, or Las Vegas Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders, whoever I am,
whoever you are,
I'm throwing this. I'm staring at 17 and throwing the ball to 17.
That's really. I mean, listen.
Yeah.
Hunter Renfrow is no longer, he's on the roster, but he's a missing man ever since Devontae Adams got there. Devontae Adams probably had like almost 20 targets last night.
Yeah. And he should have more.
Throw the ball to him.
Yeah.
He's pretty dang on good. Him and Myers, he can't go wrong with that.
And last piece of information, by the way, guys, the betting slip not doing too badly, but this was our worst week. We started the first week we went 5-1. Second week we went 3-3. This week we went 2-3-1. But so we were 10-7-1 across 18 bets across 3 weeks. But here's the thing: 2 of those 10 wins have been plus 250 plus bets on City, and so in the money we are up a little bit more than just being 10-7-1. Because again, we got City plus 260 for a draw in week 1, and we got City plus 280 for a win against Minnesota United FC. So betting slip's not doing too badly.
CD, where's our cash at? Where's our cash at?
I'm a little light over here, Matthew. The money we put in, where is it coming back, sir?
Rocc, I gave you $500. Where is that?
Great job by our producer, audio engineer, and apparent thief, Matthew Rocchio.
I am not a thief. I will not have that said about me on the air. Pleasure.
Brooke, fun Monday.
Wondering why he was balling out in the casinos this weekend.
How about that?
How about that?
Slander.
CD, congratulations on the Hawks' victory.
Show us your face. We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
I can show my face again.
There we go.
There you go.
Hey, and we appreciate you tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. A balloon party with T-Mac and Ajax coming up. For all of us until tomorrow morning at 7. Have a great day, St. Louis. Hey, if you are trying to improve your home, if you want to improve your home's value, make it look better, be more functional, you should get in touch with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They're easy to get in touch with. You can call them at 800-300-4054, or you can find them on the web at chesterfieldfence.com.